And we are
Live.
live.
Poggers.
Okay. So I can intro us off. So
Go
Indeed,
for
you
it.
can. We can get started.
absolutely. So general welcome to everyone, both live and recorded. I'm sure we'll have people flow in. Hopefully, maybe. Welcome to the Anime Fray Saber Slay podcast for the fall season of airing anime. This will be our episode 1. We have 11 shows on the dock. We've watched up to episode 2 of everything, episode 1 of one show, just to be nice to us in a way I don't think we were expecting. And to gotta go around, I am Sean. I am one of our normally 5 hosts, but there are only 4 of us tonight. Also
True.
joining me, we'll go from top We'll go top left, top right, bottom
Yeah.
left. So go ahead, Dylan.
Oh, it's me. Okay. I didn't know what the orientation was. I can't
Yeah,
see it.
I know you didn't.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dylan. People might call me Pablo. It's the same thing. Um, I was here last season, and I'm ready to have some more fun. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll go next then. I'm Daj, or you'll hear Pablo probably call me Villain
Mhm.
a lot. I am an avid weeb enthusiast, experting in the slice of life genre, and my favorite month of the year is June. That is a interesting fact about me.
Spoilers.
I know what you're talking about. I was born in June. It's just my favorite month.
Hello, I am new here. I am Jackman. Probably will only be referred as Jackman. If not, I'm Nesquick. But I am all new to this podcast of anime. I've been secretly watching anime by myself, but I've finally found a community to express myself.
Aw,
Aw.
closet weeb, yay!
Glad to have you
Have
guys.
you come out as an anime watcher now, Jackman?
I am openly an anime watcher.
You told your family.
I have told everyone.
Everyone knows. the truth.
Everybody.
We are missing our buddy Nathan, or Alka as he sometimes goes by. He's been here for, I think, every single season we've done in the past. We also have a YouTube channel. It's just Saber Slay at
True.
YouTube, so you can find us there. It's also on my blog, which is my
Oh.
WordPress, which is Sean Schmoyer at WordPress.
You're gonna need to tell them
Uh,
how to spell that.
Oh yeah, they'll find it somewhere.
We'll
Okay.
figure
No,
it
it's
out
Sean
later. We'll figure it out.
Sean Schmoyer Schmoyer.
Dope.
Good enough.
Yeah, but shall we get started then?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's the first
one on
show?
the docket?
Our first show on the docket is in the order of our voting list. Actually, we should probably very quickly, for our new audience and as a
Explain it.
first show, explain what we're doing. We
True.
have 11 shows, as I mentioned, and week by week we'll be watching the shows as they come out. You might notice the fall season has started already, and that is intentional. Because we intend to vote off a show every week, we like to let the shows build up a little bit. We normally would have let it build up to 3 episodes each, but we're doing something different this time.
Mhm.
So, though most shows have 3 episodes out, some might be verging on 4 right now. We are only talking about the first 2 episodes this week, and then for the shows that have it next week, we'll talk about episodes 3 and 4. And that was for other reasons. But what's cool about this is now we get to talk about what we have watched of our 11 shows. We have, and I can run through them quick. We have Akadama Drive. We have By the Grace of the Gods. We have Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. We have Iwakakaru Sports Climbing Girls. We have Maisetsu Opening Act. We have Noblesse, and this is the one show we've also watched the OVA for. Hopefully, everybody here has.
Hopefully.
There's
Yeah,
so fucking much.
I definitely remembered about the OVA.
You guys said it was like 20 minutes.
We have Sorcery Fight or Jujutsu Kaisen. We have Taosai Samurai or the Gymnastic Samurai. We have The Day I Became a God. We have Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You. And we have The Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elaine. So, we are going to be talking a little bit about each show, a small synopsis from the people who picked the show. We will be covering Nathan's for him since he is not here. and then we will give a little bit of our opinions across the board as that we all feel on the show, and then at the end we'll do a little bit of discussion on what we think the worst or best shows are. We'll express what we sometimes express what we are planning to vote off or not. So with all of that in mind, we are gonna get started. When we vote something off, we either choose to save it or slay it, hence the name. And I think that's pretty much everything I can think of. Or criteria for shows are no short form, no sequels. So everything here is brand new, airing this season. You can find them on all your streaming platforms, and we encourage you to do that. So, with all of that in mind, let's kick it off with Akudama Drive. So, Akudama Drive is a show I picked. The
Warning, by the
show.
way. Heavy spoilers, by the way, guys.
Yeah, heavy
thank you.
spoilers.
Heavy
Big-
spoilers.
Get that out there.
Also, some harsh language in the fact that we're probably gonna curse a couple of times, maybe just a
Heck
little,
and frick.
maybe. Heck and fricks,
What,
baby.
What the heck and frick, dude?
So we are ready to go. Akudama
Kick
Drive,
us off.
my show that I picked. Very Danganronpa vibes from this show. If you were a fan of that franchise, you're gonna recognize the art style and a couple other things about it. Maybe here we are introduced to a main character who we do not get her name. She stumbles upon. She's kind of wandering around the city. She stumbles upon this guy in his bike. Uh, Notices that he drops a coin. He drives off with his takoyaki, and she goes to buy some herself, having already placed the order. As she gets there, she realizes that the place she's buying from doesn't take the high-tech cards they have, and she has no actual cash on her. The police get called on her, and because she still has that coin, which is the exact amount of money she has to pay, they mark her as a criminal and refer to her as a swindler. We then see kind of the rest of her cast, an introduction to each of them. We have the courier, or boy with the bike. We have brawler, hacker, doctor, and those are the main cast we introduced to right away. We then we see each of them kind of do their thing, of which their name implies, and then we have each of them get a job request. They are what are known as akadamas. They seem to take these jobs and are fugitives who have years of crimes built up behind them at varying degrees for each of them. They each get a job to stop the execution of the Akadama cutthroat, and they all make their way there. They each get this separately. We see our main character girl during the commotion kind of wander out, find this cat. She has these attractions to cats where she finds them, saves them from cars, brings them to safe places. She's a wonderful character. We move into them going into the building where Cutthroat is about to be executed. The head of the execution realizes that these Akadamas are there, so he rushes to get the execution done sooner. We see a bunch of our cast do the things they do. Brawler punches stuff, hacker hacks things. The doctor can stop herself from dying, as well as be a very bad doctor. And Courier just delivers things and has a sick ass bike. So as they kind of all tussle with each other and they all kind of come to the same location, our main character wanders in by accident, to which they recognize that she's not registered as an Akadama, to which she, genius play, decides that she is now the swindler, and that is why she's not recognized there, telling lies and digging holes. Very good at her job.
One might say she swindled.
Yep. A
Ooh.
giant robot crashes through the elevator at them, and we see that they are we cut away from them as this robot fight goes on, and we see the execution ground. We see this figure Cutthroat ready to be executed. The robot crashes into the execution arena. Things go wild, and by the end of the episode, we find Cutthroat has been rescued, and each of our Akadamas that we have, with the addition of a new character, Hoodlum, who has wandered his way in with a great 4-year sentence under his belt, all of them, including our main character, Swindler, get these I can't think of the term I'm looking for.
Collars.
Collars, thank you.
Chokers.
Collars around their necks that appear to have
Some cute
bombs
jewelry.
in them to some
Splurge
degree.
time.
And the cat that Swindler has been holding on to announces that they were now all ready to progress onto the next stage of the plan, as they are all now working for this cat. They received their, what was it, $1 million for rescuing Cutthroat into their accounts.
It was 100 million
Is it
yen.
100
It was
million
100
yen?
million
So
yen.
about $1 million.
Just like
Yeah.
$6. I
That
have
was
no
an
idea.
unintentional conversion I did, by the way. 100
Also-
million yen.
Also, Cat is robot, by the way.
Cat is
Another
robot. I
cat.
believe we get that reveal in episode 2, which we will quickly get ready
God,
I
into.
don't know if it was
Spoiler.
1 or 2, but like, yeah.
Yep,
Man.
we move into episode 2, and we start not where we left off. They do a little, here we are, look at the overview of the city. Everyone's in deep shit. And now we flash back and we find out why. They have this next big mission ready for them to do, and they are going to basically do a very quick and fast break into a very high-tech system that would normally stop any intruders from entering. We can expand on what that is later. I apologize, my notes are not very in-depth on that. The crew decides that they need to find a way to get there, and thus Brawler decides he's going to steal an Airbus, because the whole city here is high tech. And Brawler hops in, starts to destroy the bus, and Hacker brings it towards them, realizing that this isn't gonna go well. They start making their way, cruising very casually into their area, when Cutthroat realizes that there are things that are the color red around, and he starts to hit everything that is red, including a button that sends the bus into overdrive, crashing into a very high floor of a 7-star hotel, where then the Akudama murder brutally a bunch of guards to the point where
Fucking everyone.
they then are able to sit down and talk about the next mission in more detail until are they called executioners?
They're called executioners, I think.
Yeah, the executioners, who we are given the titles of master and pupil for, bust in the room and start to beat the shit out of the Akadama. A couple of them are thrown out the building. One or two of them are, well, the doctor is flat out killed in front of us. And Courier does his job and kind of clears the room, and everyone escapes. And they also find out who Swindler is. She has no record, and the hoodlum greatly boasts about how wonderful she is and that she's a swindler and would never, ever be caught. They manage to find themselves into a warehouse. The doctor's alive because, as I mentioned before, she can sew up her own wounds, which includes her decapitated neck. It was, yeah, probably just slit her throat. You know, the normal kind of stuff. So, they meet up. The Black Cat explains to them, now that we're finally here and things are finally quiet, let's talk about your next case. And they go into a little more detail, and we find that there is really only one problem. It's that they need to get into this security area that no one has access to and is not very easily accessible at all in general. But Swindler seems to have had easy access to it, and she knows she can get in there. So we kind of have this set up for them to move into their second job, where they're going to be paid more money, and Swindler seems to have an important role to play. And that's kind of where we have our first 2 episodes. Episode 1 very much is a character introduction. Episode 2 is a let's show off what the characters can do even more in a couple of fights, and set up for a second case for them to carry out through their journey. So that is Akadama Drive we have so far. We can open up the floor to discussion.
Okay. That show's fucking lit, by the way. That show is fucking awesome. It's almost too awesome is my problem.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hype, but like I want to know more about cuz there's like 2 cities over a nuclear fallout.
Yeah.
Or there's a nuclear fallout in between, and the only way to get from one to the other is through this train. Does that mean you can't just take a boat? Did I just
So-
break the lore?
So in the lore, it mentions how like essentially Kanto is like the main city of what is now Japan's like this futuristic society, and essentially Kanto like basically like used a new type of WMD to basically wipe out Kansai, and now like this crater is like this zone of like pure radiation and contamination that only the Shinkansen, like this man-made structure, or like train, can get through. But this is also where they have to like invade to like get this super information or whatever. That's this whole billion yen job basically. And so, like you mentioned, like Swindler is the only one who has access to the Seal Center, which is the place that controls all information in Kansai. because she's just a citizen. But they can't really they're not really sure that she's just a citizen, except for Bike Guy, who's like, nah, she's just a normal chick, but
Yeah.
she's here now, so it's
Yeah.
fine. And the cat was just like, yeah, she's here, it's interesting, keep her.
Unlucky.
She's cute, keep her, it's fine.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the action in the show is absolutely nuts, and the art style, I can't praise it enough because Danganronpa's art style is so like distinct and unique, but it's so
dope.
damn
Yeah.
nice to look at all the
And
time.
it does the same thing that the Danganronpa franchise does, which is when you enter a scene and they've cut to it, they drop the background into it and like build it. And I love when they do
Oh
that.
yeah, and also the comic book transitions when they're
Yeah.
introducing the characters
Oh,
as
I
they're fighting and
love the
stuff.
fucking
That was
intros.
Yeah.
really
It was
I
cool.
love the
so
comic book
cool.
feeling to it. It's
It
so
was
cool.
so cool, dude. I felt like I was watching like Smash Bro released characters.
Or
Yeah,
like,
no.
or like like I was playing Borderlands or something like that with like
Yes.
the new characters we introduced.
Ooh.
And you just
Mm.
see the name and then what
That's
they are.
That's like
It's just the
perfect,
perfect.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does a really good job of introducing its characters right away. Even though we don't get names, we get like code names or roles basically.
Yeah.
Who is your guys' like favorite character so far?
I love.
Sean knows what mine is.
I am torn between the fact that I love Brawler because
I love Brawler.
same.
Brawler.
Yeah, I know Dill is gonna have the same
Brawler.
opinion. I just enjoy watching that man tear things to shreds. But also Cutthroat is amazing. I love.
Oh my god. When
He's
when
so
when
good.
Cutthroat when we found out Cutthroat has a red fetish on the fucking bus,
And
I
he
was
likes
just
the main
losing
girl
my
because
mind.
she's wearing
He's just
pink.
yeah,
Her
yeah,
hair is
he's
pink.
just hitting everything red.
Even the chick, he's like, "All right, you're mine now." It's like, what? Whoa, 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 wait, whoa, wait!
Hey. That's how you do it,
I think my
though.
favorite is Courier. Just even though he has a really dumb CGI bike, I still
Doesn't
think
look
he's like
bad.
oh,
It-
there's
it's
a couple
CGI.
scenes.
It shoots the cables. It shoots the cables.
when he's up in the air like going 360s, just like
Yeah.
it's a little bad, but I think he's just pretty badass.
You
To be
didn't
honest
like
with you.
Attack on Tron?
I do kind of like Hacker. I think Hacker's interesting. I like Brawler specifically when he's with the con artist or the
True.
Hoodlum.
what is he called?
With
Hoodlum.
Hoodlum, yeah.
Hoodlum and Brawler is fun because it's just like stupid idiot
Just
and
Dumb and Dumber.
slightly smarter idiot,
Mhm.
like idiot with common sense. But
Dude, they're hype bros for each other. They're just gonna hype
They're-
each other
they're
up the
really
whole
Yeah, they're
time.
yes men. Yeah.
That is
Oh,
all
man.
Hoodlum's gonna be, and I'm gonna love it every second
Also,
that
can we
he
talk about
hypes
how
someone
Brawler
up.
jumped from like 70
Dude.
feet away and just stole a damn airship?
He also
what he
gets
do, that's what he
knocked
do.
around like it's nothing in this episode. In these two
He's also
episodes.
punching metal robots.
Yeah, dude, the
Yeah.
executioner's fights. Oh,
Oh,
Shit
that was
was-
good.
dude, I thought Doctor died, and then she's just like, "It's like, oh, you're not dead." She's like, "I can self-medicate."
You knew she was
You
fine.
got decapitated, by the way.
This isn't Tokyo Cool where they're just gonna introduce a character and kill them in the same episode.
Whoa, spoiler.
I mean, I would not be surprised if some of this cast does not live to the
Yeah,
end of the
I
story.
feel I get somewhat
Oh, for
Attack of
sure.
Titan feels where it's like I don't know if any of these characters are actually gonna live type deal, and
Yeah.
I like that aspect because you're like, okay, what's my favorite character, and like you come up with these ideas of like, shit, how's my character gonna die?
Yeah, the show also does have very big heist vibes to it, just general heist movies.
Yes.
The difference being that it's definitely a heist movie where everyone's just good on their own and they have no idea how to work together, and
Mhm.
that's gonna make it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting. It's gonna be fun to watch like the plot progress now that we've had all this setup. Like
Mhm.
that's what's interesting about watching like the first two episodes as opposed to one is like you get like this kind of base of like, okay, this is like what the plot is, and then the next two episodes is gonna be like, okay, here's the actual like what's going on and like starting to actually execute on this plan that hopefully takes like this entire season, right?
Yeah.
And I think my favorite part about this anime so far is just the setting. I want to know more
Mm.
about the world and like why things are how they are. With like from the very start, you see like a very like just strict like class system already
Mhm.
forming. From Swindler like being on the train, doing her job, to then getting off and then like going down back streets where there's like no like technology built up anywhere type deal.
Yeah.
I find that so cool and fascinating, this world that they've built up
Yeah,
over
and they
just
also,
two
like,
episodes.
they also mentioned like specifically like how like the class systems are like distributed, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
With like the Utopia Kanto, the God place where all the important people live, basically all the people in charge, government. Kansai having its specific awards, its South being the criminals, the middle class is in the Central, and then the North is for the people who have money but aren't quite, the higher ups. They just have money and status, but they don't have enough status to live in Kanto. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I love the lore building so far, and like you said, like so far, I'd say the setting is the best character.
100%.
We get a lot of. I also think this is going to be a show where they're going to give us information because episode
Yeah.
2 gives us that history of Kansai and Kanto through that little slideshow presentation, which again is very Danganronpa.
Such a Danganronpa way to do it, dude.
So,
I
and
love it.
I'm not always the biggest fan of those in shows, but it didn't interrupt the action in a way that upset me, so I was fine getting it. It is gonna have to be a thing that I pay attention when those pop up.
And it was like right at the start of the episode too, right? So it wasn't
I
like
think so.
too much in your face.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Akadama Drive?
No.
I
honest-
think it has the ability to become a long running anime.
Yes.
It'd be
And
interesting.
That's what I look for like big shoujin shows and all that. Just like
Mhm.
how can this show last after their first arc type deal?
Yeah, like,
And it
this
should
feels
be
like a show that
interesting to
might
see.
complete itself in like one season, right?
That's true.
I do feel like they could do. They could also, I feel, tie this show up in a bow in 12 episodes.
They could.
We'll know probably halfway through whether or not that's going to be the case. And I think if it does do that, it's going to be good. So I'm going to enjoy that. If we got nothing else to talk about, we can move right on to the second show.
Sure.
Okay.
Go
So
for it.
We got a lot of shows.
we do. So our second show is By the Grace of Gods, and this is a Nathan show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I will. I as much as I don't want to talk again, I will. We'll do.
Go
But
for
I'll,
it.
I'll talk about by the grace of gods.
You
We are
got it.
introduced to this young boy Ryoma and his plethora of slimes. He takes care of tons of different types of slimes: cleaner slimes, poison slimes, sticky slimes, and like 2 or 3 other ones. We know there's a healing slime, and I think 2 more that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. And these slimes, he has the ability to tame them. They seem to multiply at a certain speed, and we find out that Ryuma is living by himself in this forest. And he is going about his day, and he finds these knights that are about, and he goes to speak to them, and he doesn't seem to be able to. He doesn't seem to be able to talk in full coherent sentences, despite the fact that we know he can. But he winds up treating Hughes, one of the guards in this batch of knights. They bring him back to his house, and they talk for a little bit. And Ryoma tells them that he has his grandmother and a grandfather who passed away, and he's been living here for 3 years. He's 11. I think he's 11.
Yes.
And so he's been living on his own for 3 years in the middle of the forest, and the knights are a little worried. And they're like, well, let's check. We have this nice crystal ball. We can check a bunch of stuff about you, whether you're a good person or a criminal.
Top 5 stats.
Yeah, top 5 stats, strongest abilities, stuff like that. And, they're like, oh, he's good, and it glows blue. He's fine. He's not a criminal, and there's nothing unusual about him. And they let him walk away to go get them drinks. And then they go, his pain tolerance and mental tolerance, his physical and mental pain tolerance are incredibly high stats. As is his survival is a handiwork. I don't remember what the third one is they give. It's like a
It was, like,
survival-based
housekeeping.
thing. Housekeeping, that
one
was
of
it.
them.
So his
Housekeeping.
housekeeping was 10,
Housekeeping.
his mental pain
9.
tolerance was 9, and his physical was 8. And they seemed surprised by an 8 tolerance. So they're
At
also
an
caught
11-year-old.
Yeah, they're also caught off guard by the fact that he knows a bunch of spells. And a bunch of different elements of spells at that. And as he kind of ushers them out, and he's kind of he's cured the injured knight, and they introduce themselves and leave. We find out that from Ryoma telling us that he actually has recently died. That's right, baby. It's isekai time. And
Goddamn right it is.
and we get a interesting backstory that explains some of Ryoma's stats. He was a overworked overtime worker in your typical hard business, and he died from accidentally hitting his head too many times in his sleep because he turned a lot and the pillow eventually fell, and then he gave himself like a head tumor or something and died. And the 3 gods of the world go, yeah, we don't have like enough magical power in our world, and your world is just booming with it. Earth just has plenty of it, and none of you use it. So we're just gonna take you and shove you into our world, and we're gonna start you off as an 8-year-old kid, and you can't tell anyone that you're not an 8-year-old kid. You gotta sign this contract here on the dotted line, and if you do, who knows what's gonna happen, but you shouldn't. And then you just get to live your life." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm down," and he does it. And we find that he wants to spend his time just doing hobbies, something he never has gotten to do, and that's why he spends so much time, interacting with slime when he learns how to tame magic and building his own house and, just studying and researching. Episode 2 rolls around, and we have the group of knights before, led by Reinhardt, who is the duke of a family of a very particular, powerful they seem group. They're also a known family of tamers. Brings his whole family with him to visit Ryoma again, to which they gift him a nice golden clock. And then after doing so, they kind of talk with Ryoma. And he shows up that he can do a lot of cool things as well, and everyone's impressed by him. And they introduced Iliaria. That's
Eliar
Eliaria,
Eliaria, yeah.
I
Sure.
believe is her name. She's this.
No, it is.
She is the
The
daughter.
blonde-haired girl.
Oh, she's the daughter. She's Reinhardt's daughter, or
Yes.
yes.
She
Yes.
is adorable, is what she is.
Yeah,
then
and
she's
she
protected.
wants to be a tamer. And she
Yeah.
wants to tame a slime because Ryoma
course.
knows so much about slimes. And he introduces all the types of slime, and she goes, "I want a cleaner slime." And he goes, "That's complicated." And he rushes over, he calls all the
That's
guys over. He goes,
rude.
"I don't know how to explain this to her. You need to take your sweaty bathwater and leave it out for the slime because cleaner slimes like dirt and grime. And that way you'll be able to tame the slime." And Hughes goes, "I got this," and blatantly tells it and gets slapped by every woman in the room. And then I'll just call her Ellie. Ellie decides that she still wants the cleaner slime, so she goes through with it, gets her slime, and then they all offer Ryoma to come with them on a journey. And he seems hesitant, and Ellie talks him into it. They go on this. They start to head out. He packs all his everything he owns up. He condenses all his slimes into one big slime, and then condenses that one big slime into a smaller slime. And
Bag of
then
holding LP.
yeah, and then they head on out on anime's biggest bane, horses. They leave through horse-drawn carts and come across this cliffside spill where they can no longer walk. They can no longer pass. And Ryoma shows off. He's got this nice rain poncho he's made, and everyone's like, "That's a cool poncho. We can make money off that." And then he shows them how to take the two spells, the one that would crush dirt and the one that would create and the one that would move dirt, I think, and then
Mhm.
combine the two to make actual blocks instead. And they use that magic together to clear the path and move on. And that's kind of where our episode falls. Those are our first 2 episodes of By the Grace of the Gods. A nice little slow build into what appears to be a nice little slice of life kind of isekai with an interesting magic system in it and the most adorable slimes on the planet.
Okay. This
Okay.
show is fucking boring. Holy shit.
Dylan.
So I watched for 40 minutes a little kid explain how fucking slimes fuck, how they fit in the smaller places, teach a girl how to tame one that he's already tamed 364 of, 363 counting because he's missing one, I think. And then he turned rocks into square shaped rocks.
Hang on. Don't forget the fact that in order to make cleaner slimes, you need Belle Delphine.
You gotta have the Bella Delphine bathwater.
Can you get through that
Hold
bathwater
on,
real
guys.
quick?
These slimes do not discriminate based on gender. It can be any type of bathwater.
That's true.
like-
that is
but like-
true.
Wait, but Belle Delphine was ahead of her time.
That's true.
because those slimy guys will buy that bathwater just like these slimes.
I will
Okay.
agree that it is a little bit slow for my liking. However, I think it'll be cool to see the inventions that this kid will bring to like the towns that they go and all that. To see like it's almost like the bookworm
Yeah.
anime.
Has a lot of bookworm vibes.
A lot of bookworm vibes. It would be cool to see how things work together and see like maybe the kid actually grows up. Maybe there's a time skip. You never know, type deal. But yeah, I'm on the edge about this. I think it's a good show to turn off your brain and just like, yeah, this is okay.
I think Ryoma's a little broken, and needs to get nerfed.
He doesn't
Like,
seem broken in an
he kicked a
offensive way,
tree in
though.
half as an
Okay, well,
8-year-old.
yes. I forgot
He
about
can use
that.
every type of magic, and he's been alive for 58 years.
However, he's a master of none.
That's
That
true.
is a big thing.
because he's also innovating and cheating. Like, it doesn't matter if you can master none, if you can master all the basic level of every single one, because you can combine those, and which he's already shown. Like, I think Rayum was a little broken. I think the Eliara is adorable, and it needs to be protected. However, kind of weird 55-year-old getting vibes for that. The mom is kind of adorable as well. She's a great character, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting show. It's a cute little, isekai. I don't think it's doing anything special, and like, I mean, it feels a little bland right now, to be honest, just like Pablo mentioned. But the ending song is pretty good,
I was just
and
about to say, have you seen the ending song?
the ending's really good, but
Kind of popping.
but the show itself is kind of dropping.
Hold. I just want to talk about the fact that in the
Yeah, sure.
ending song, the slime dances to the music, and
The
that
slime
in
dances.
itself,
There's a cat girl.
there are multiple animal girls who I am concerned that they're going to be an in-show idol group based on the ED. I like this show simply for more of the mechanics itself. I like the way it has its magic system. I like the way it has its complexities and how Ryoma's interacting with them. I'm kind of in the same boat. I want to see what he makes, how he does it. I want to learn more about the system and the world. I also just really enjoy looking at these slimes. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're adorable.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things about the world itself is that I like the main character's self-awareness. I think that's really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I always like to see that in isekais because it's really boring that like in modern day and we have like oh, what is happening?
Yeah.
Oh, am I
Yeah,
in
he
another
breaks the
world?
fourth wall type of deal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's just like, huh, cool. Where do
I read
sign?
manga.
Where do
I read
sign?
manga!
Just right here. Do you need my date of birth? Do you need a little bit of blood? Like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Make me broken. Yes. But yeah, and I just think he's shattered.
I'll also say I like the
He's surfing.
interactions with the gods.
True.
Yeah.
That was a big point of the show where it was like, okay, this is actually kind of funny. All the three gods have their own like quirks, and it'd be cool to see how they show up again because I know he has a statue of them all in his basement, and
Yeah.
that he would like say he would make another one. But
He's
like, I think
also-
it'd be cool to see.
He's also supposed to reach out to them as soon as he gets to a city, which he's put off doing for 3 years, like a great
No.
person
They
does.
said reach out. You can reach out to us if you need us in any
That's
city. They didn't
true.
think he had to.
That's
They
true.
just said if he wanted to speak with him, he can at any of the shrines
Yeah.
because they are the actual gods of the world.
But yeah, it'll be cool to see how he interacts with the three different gods. Maybe like each city has their own god and like how they're portrayed and stuff like that. Be cool to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Do you have any other thoughts about By the Grace of the Gods?
I still
No.
think it's boring.
Yeah, it's like, bro, like the first 2 episodes were just pretty bland. Like maybe
It's
the third one's
just-
gonna get cool because they're in a
I
fucking
don't,
city
I
now.
don't know
Yeah.
what
can't.
conflict you're gonna have.
It's a travel anime right now,
Yes.
basically.
I can't
Dodge
wait to talk
is
about some
entirely
other
correct.
things.
I don't know what the conflict is.
I
Is
can't
there even a
wait.
conflict, or is it just like
I think
harem
we'll
show
find
but with
out.
an
I'm
11-year-old?
hoping we'll
I think-
find a conflict
I
in the
think we'll find out.
next
But yeah, I'm
couple
not.
episodes.
I
I
think we're just
don't.
gonna have a harem show with an 11-year-old.
No,
I don't want to watch that.
I do agree the show will like it can only get so far off of cute slimes and neat mechanics. It is going to need a conflict and something to keep me interested as we go. So I'm definitely in agreement on that. I just don't think it's too big of a perpetrator of that so far. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
And if we are good to move on,
Yes.
next show, The Day I Became a God. Is this you, villain?
No.
Are we doing the day I became a god next? Okay. No.
Oh,
No,
Dylan,
it's
was this
me.
you? Dylan,
Yeah.
talk to me about the day I became a god.
Okay, so I wanna preface this with I really should read show synopsises before I pick them.
Pablo likes lollies.
Come on, Pablo.
likes lollies.
Dylan, I'm gonna have a very important question for you when we're done talking about the show, and I don't know if you know
Alright.
what it is or not.
Is it about his
My
punishment?
my summary is gonna be in as depth as Sean Athin
It's
because
probably good.
I don't really want to. So the plot is you have this guy, he's playing basketball, and he's playing basketball with his friend, and he's like, he's swerving on him, and there's some annoying fucking girl screaming her head off in a nun costume who speaks 1600 ye old English and claims to be a god in the we form. She then goes around showing off her knowledge after the guy's like, all right, like, what can you do? So she's like, all right, here, I'll tell you what the horse races are gonna be. So she goes into this ramen shop and just predicting horse races. Meanwhile, the owner's like fucking nutting to the fact that she could predict right numbers. Then they go and there's this chick. Her name's Izanami. And our main character loves Izanami. And he's like, I'm not gonna admit it. All right, I'll admit it.
Yeah,
And then
he's simping.
he's like, no, I don't. Okay, I do. And the chick's like, by the way, the entire time this fucking pink-haired bitch is being annoying as fuck. like screaming her head off for like, I think I couldn't count any longer. I was getting upset. But she's like, all right, like, Izanami's like smart as fucking shit, and you guys are best friends, and you wanna go to the next level, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, all right, how do you do it then? He's like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, the answer's baseball, you idiot. And she's like, fuck, I picked basketball. So he's like, yep, you got to go play baseball, and you're going to go challenge the team, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. He's like, all right. So she's like, all right, the first pitch is going to be a ball, and you're not going to swing. And he doesn't swing, it's a ball. So she's like, oh, she actually knows the future. The problem is that he strikes out because she told him to swing on none of the pitches, and he ends up striking out.
But that fifth pitch would have been perfect, though.
The fifth pitch would have been perfect.
That's the one.
Except, unfortunately, 3 strikes and you're out. And that's what happened. He goes up to Izanami, confesses his love for her, and she says no. And then leaves.
World shattered.
So
What about the second episode?
Yeah, talk to me about
So,
the second
yeah,
episode.
Run
that
it
was
back.
part-
Run it back.
So unfortunately, there was a second episode. So then there's like, oh wait, there was like a part where they had to make like a video. He was like a fucking astronaut or some stupid shit.
Armageddon, baby.
Hang on, that was Armageddon. That was a direct reference to Armageddon.
I didn't
And
watch
that was a reference
Armageddon,
to-
and I don't know if I want to watch a show. So he pretends to be an astronaut, and that shit don't work either. So the second episode, and we get to see more of like his family, and the nun chick is just, annoying. And we meet Sora, who is the sister. And he gets this second chance to like ask her out on a date, and it looks like it's gonna work. Not Sora, holy shit. Izanami.
God, thank
They're like
you.
playing piano, and he's like trying, and he's like, he's fucking sucks. And then she's like, here, I'll do it. And there's like this big tension building, like grand piano crescendo, and everything's amazing. And he's like, I'm gonna ask her, and that's it. So it royally pissed me off, but that's not part of the show, of course. And then they go back home, and at the end of the second episode, they're like, knock, knock on the door. They answer it, and Sora's like, I don't know, mauled by a bear or something with her
Beaten up.
friend. Got her shit kicked in, and they're like, oh, fuck. And that's the episode.
That was an excellent
Beautiful.
synopsis, Pablo.
The show is also doing a thing where there are 30 days until the world ends. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
you forgot
remember
to
that
mention
part,
that.
Dylan.
Why is he worried about any of this? Because the world's ending in 30
Oh,
fucking
shit,
days.
I
And
didn't
we've
write that.
wasted
I did write that. I skipped that line.
6
Shit, my bad.
days.
Have we
6 days
actually-
have
Has
passed.
it already been 6
It's
days?
been it was one day he met her, and they spent 5 days doing the movie and the music.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
Oh,
It
the
does
world
give
is fucked.
give us that at the end, towards the end of the episode. They give us the day count.
I think Odin, who's the lolly girl, by the way.
Her name's Hina Sato, but also
So she
Odin.
does herself as Odin. But so Hina, I think what she described this perfectly in one of the things she said, which is, why did I decide to spend the end of the world with this guy? And that's the question I was asking too, because why did you decide to spend the end of the world here at all? Because the
Yep.
world is gonna end.
Yep.
I think it's a very entertaining comedy.
You do.
Is it a plot? I think it's entertaining. I think it's funny. I think it's better. It's more funny than some other shows that are supposed to be comedy. But,
Yup.
unfortunately, but we'll get to that later. But it's hard to call this show good at all. Like I wonder what's going with the parents, because they clearly
Yes.
know something. Like they knew this was gonna happen. Are they actually gods? Like all the family is like named after God. It's all the it's like their names are written because Japanese names are weird. They're written after things basically,
Yep.
but pronounced differently. So it's like in Bunny Girl Senpai, they specifically state my name is this, as in this. So his name is like he's like basically God of the Sun,
God of the Sun,
and then his
whole
sister is
family
like God of the
just
Sky.
oh,
His parents are like God of the Earth and God of the like
time.
time, and it's like
Yeah.
and she's starting to fit over that because her name is boring garbage. I think. And that might be a rough translation, but yeah, I mean it's all right. Like eh. That's all I have to say about this show. It's
Yeah.
entertaining sometimes.
I was bored out of my mind watching these 2 episodes. The only good part of this whole 2 episodes was watching the guy play basketball and actually being good at basketball.
Sure.
And then at the end of the 2nd episode where she plays the piano.
Oh, that was a cool scene.
When his buddy hops on his bike, the animation for that bike
Yeah.
going away is
my God.
amazing. This show looks really good. Let's be.
The
This
show
show
It's a
looks
high
looks
schooler and he's got a
beautiful.
motorcycle.
Are they call? Oh no, they are high school. Yeah.
They're high school about to go to college.
Yeah. I will
She's
say.
like, I gotta study for my entrance exam. She's like,
No, you don't.
fucking
And
why?
maybe
the
the
world's
boxing scene.
ending.
I enjoy. I'm a big mythology guy, so it gets slight points out of me for messing with the names and having them all be god related. I am interested. I want something to latch onto with this show, so
I
it
want
has to
something
be
to-
like the 30-day like time. I'm interested in how they do it. My prediction is, and we might not get to the point where we get to see this or not. I think they're gonna get
Might.
halfway through it, and he's gonna have wasted his 30 days and realize that he hasn't gotten anything good out of it. And then, like since his mom's the god of time, I think we're actually gonna get her to fucking send him back,
Please no.
and he's gonna fix things for the rest of the show.
Oh,
God.
And I could be
It's
completely
Subaru.
wrong. I could be completely
Isn't that like a
wrong.
One Piece arc or something.
I could be completely wrong.
Maybe he can just die instead.
There's
Yeah, it's
also
like the show just the Earth just explodes and it fades to black.
this girl.
Episode
mean,
3, it does that. It does that episode 3.
This
I
girl
mean,
is
for-
semi-related to him somehow. We don't know
I think
how.
it has entertaining parts to it, and we'll see how it goes with the plot.
Yeah.
But I think with drama, fantasy, romance, and slice of life being the main genres, I have a feeling the main plot is him trying to get this girl and being a bitch about it for 12 episodes.
Yes, I think he's gonna spend half the show and then realize he can't get her after the 20th time it fails.
And then try to get with the lolly.
Yeah, exactly. Who's somehow related to him, so there are no
Oh my God.
problems there.
Oh my god, I just had a
Japan,
thought.
there's never any problems
Uh
there.
huh.
Yep.
Okay,
Jackman.
so they just went into summer, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And we all know that
Summer
after
break.
summer there's a festival.
Labor Day.
Yes, every Japanese festival in the summer is always fireworks, right?
Ooh, we get a beach episode
Day
too.
30, fireworks will go off, the world explodes.
When's the beach episode? Plus or minus
That's
episode
maybe
4.
3
Oh,
episode.
of course. There needs to be beach episodes.
Plus,
And,
it's going to be
think it's
exactly
episode
episode
six. I think
5.
it's
for
episode
some
6. I
reason,
think it's episode 6.
this season's a lot of bathtub scenes.
Exactly episode 5. Yeah, no, I noticed that, Dylan. That's a problem.
Anime's had a lot of bathtub scenes for a while. You just don't
I don't-
notice them.
I
don't like
think we
bathtubs
spent too much
anymore.
time on this than we have to.
Yeah, let's
So,
continue
Dylan,
more.
I have
Agreed.
to ask you a question.
I won't answer it, but go ahead.
After the summer season, where you viciously murdered Usaki week 1, how did you pick this show?
I think I answered that before, actually, by saying I don't read the synopses.
I think you went and
That's-
finished.
nope.
I think you went and finished Uzaki, and your brain mentally selected this show
His
without
brain's
you
like,
knowing.
Run it back.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I think you're right, and I am.
Let's-
All right,
let's
say
let's
goodbye
get
to the show.
let's
Let's move on. Let's move on
Jackman-
before Pablo loses it.
Jackman
Oh,
save
is it
me.
my turn?
Talk to
Is
me
it my
about
turn?
the adventure of Dai, Dragon Quest.
Oh, okay. I didn't write very much about this. However, I think it's a pretty good standard just shonen show, long-running shonen show that I can see it happening. Dai is essentially just this kid who is in a world. Essentially, he's born supposedly as a hero, and you get this scene where he's just cast away on a boat, and he's picked up by these monsters. And we find out later that these monsters are friendly now because the demon lord is dead killed by the previous hero. And as the episodes progress, throughout the first episode, you see Dai just trying to learn magic his hardest and is just trying his best. He wants to be a hero instead, but his father figure, which is like a gremlin looking thing, I don't really know what he is, but he's basically a great mage and he's trying to force Dai to become a mage. When all of a sudden you get this big boat come to the island, and it's just these heroes. Dai goes up to meet them in a boat. He's swimming on a mermaid, and he meets these heroes, brings them to the island, and turns out these heroes are not so hero after all. And
No,
they're
what
after
are they?
this. They're fake heroes, I thought, right?
Yeah,
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 crazy.
Uh-huh.
They're after a flying golden slime,
Mhm.
which is super rare and expensive,
Yep.
and to bring it to the king so they can become more heroic and under a fake name. And Dai heroically defeats them after they brutally hurt all of his friends, the monsters, and goes onto the ship and whoops some ass, and then Talk no Jitsu's the king, and becomes a hero himself. The second
Superhero.
episode then progresses where you find the best girl, the
Mhm.
princess,
Mhm.
then comes to the island to settle in her trials, to like bless the earth type trial, um, and they basically get out there and go exploring. They come across a caterpillar, which is Dai's friend, and he just moves him along. And when they get to the cave, things turn south real quickly, as the closest members of the princess completely betrayed her, and the main dude basically tries to kill the princess by poisoning her by a scorpion, and Dai transforms like Goku and completely one shots the scorpion. They head back to the beach to figure what's out. Actually, before that, they get sent into a cave, and they essentially Dai just fucking berserks out of it and is insanely OP. A big flash of light happens, and they get back to the beach. They find out who's behind it, and it's the big mean priest that came with them on the boat, and then pursues with a really bad CGI fight, with some good parts that were hand drawn. Essentially, Dai just whittles down this giant death fighting robot that's supposed to be undefeatable, and eventually the princess gets healed, and Dai wins and becomes even greater known. But yeah, that's essentially the adventure of Dai. The first two episodes, the fighting scenes, eh, if they're gonna continue to be CGI, I'm not really too sure how I like that. But I think that the storytelling is okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Let's unpack it a bit, Pablo.
So yeah, I'm attacking everything right now. So
Go for it.
this show is literally a kids show, by the way.
It is.
Like I'm pretty sure I'd wake up in the morning, turn on Disney XD, and this would be on. So
Yeah.
the problem I have with this show is that the first and second episodes, if you look at it, are pretty much exactly the fucking same. Because
Huh?
it's, hey, we've come to your island to murder fucking everyone. It's like, okay, stop. All right. Hey, what's up? Some new guys coming to your island to murder everyone.
No. That's like, let's get this straight, Pablo. First episode 1 was to murder everyone. Episode 2 was, hey, we've come to
To
your
murder the
island to murder
princess.
specifically someone
On your island.
And then
on
when
your
they
island
find
to frame you,
and then when they find out, murder everyone.
murder
Yeah.
all witnesses.
Everyone, I like how the two like villain culprits who came in, it's like, hey, how's it going? To like fully out animated like JoJo, like I'm gonna murder all of you. It's like what the fuck?
I mean, yeah.
Also, the main character Just I cannot get Ash Ketchum out of my fucking
Yep,
head when I look
Ash
at
and,
him,
and Gohan.
and so I cannot stand this show. But it's still okay.
What are your
I
thoughts,
like.
Sean?
I I thought my roommate yelled at me. He was like, "This is gonna be a kids show the whole way through," and then they showed blood, and I was like, "Okay, so it might not be." Uh, Look, I like Dragon Quest. I'm a sucker for this show in that regard. I will never not love the spell names they spew at me, and I know how ridiculous they get
Fizzle.
when they get stronger. Kafizzle, baby. Um,
Uh,
Yeah,
I
I played
actually
Smash Bros.
as Jackman was talking and recapping the show, I went, "Holy shit, they're the same episode." It hit me as he was recapping it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how I didn't realize it in that moment. The only reason don't hate the CGI of the burning passion for this fight scene is that it feels video game esque,
yeah, I
and
was gonna
that's
bring
why
that
they
up as
do it.
well.
I think they do it because it feels like a video game. I don't know that makes it good. It makes it a little tolerable though. Um, I don't hate this show. Uh,
Yeah, I don't hate it either.
a lot of this so far this season, there is basically a fine line for me of shows that are really good and shows that are okay, and there's like a split there. And there's a couple of shows that are sitting on that. It's really okay, and it could become really good. I don't know if this is one of them, but I'm willing to give it time to grow. I don't really. It's Toriyama, man. I know exactly what this is gonna look like. Dragon Ball. It's gonna look like
I,
Dragon Ball.
no,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's.
no,
I got
guys.
very strong Dragon Ball feels where he's just sitting there powering up, and it's like,
Here's what I'll say about it. Like, this show is based on a video game, and
Yep.
so what does everything feel like? A
Video
video game,
Yeah.
because it's literally probably I don't know for sure if it's like related to a Dragon Quest game because there's like 76 and a half of them.
3.
However,
It's based off a
um,
manga that's based off that pulls from 3.
yeah,
Uh,
so there you go. Like it pulls from 3 games, and it's weird because it's just like it feels just like a game. It's gonna
mhm.
be a JRPG. You know the story that's gonna happen. Here's your hero. He's gonna slowly get better. He's a little OP, a lot OP at certain times, and like the princess has a thing for him, and also gets off on calling him little hero when he's actually the future hero. What a jerk. However, um, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly like if this show is going to be interesting or just kind of like mediocre because I mean in the end it's a JRPG, right?
yeah.
It looked like they just pulled the CG directly from a video game.
Mhm.
It looks like Dragon Ball Z Fighters cutscenes
Yeah.
in the fights. And then in the middle of the fights they just weirdly have like hand drawn
Hand drawn,
and it's like
yeah.
wow this looks really good and then it goes back to CG and
And
you're
then
like
it
wow
flashes back to
that looks
CG, and it's
really
like, what
good.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Why? Just keep it hand drawn the entire time.
It's very frustrating, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's
Well, we'll
it,
see. We'll
I
see
don't know.
how future fights go.
Yeah.
Because two new characters were just introduced at the end of the episode 2. One seems like he's just blatantly dumb, and that could play kind of interesting if they all four of them meet up together type deal.
The other feels
Uh,
evil.
yeah.
Purple
So
Hair Boy very much feels antagonist, and we're getting another character because we have 2 pink-haired female characters, kind
Yeah,
of.
one that's
The
gonna be the
princess
waifu
is
material, and one that's the
Yeah.
princess.
The princess isn't quite as pink-haired as the other one we'll meet. I only know that because of the open. I like the show's opening, by the way. We haven't really mentioned that. We said we were gonna. A lot of these shows have really good openings.
sure,
Uh,
this OP is
it's
actually one
okay.
of the better ones. It's
I like
okay.
it.
It's a little catchy here and there, but
I, I,
ah,
I do respect Leona for being brutally honest,
Honest.
yeah.
and she's adorable. But again, I mean, Dai is just kind of like generic protagonist, super OP.
Yeah.
It's JRPG. Like we'll see. I rhymed a lot there. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on it so far. I don't have too much to add because you
Yeah.
guys mentioned a lot of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll see if he
This
gets to leave the
show.
island eventually in the first 17 episodes.
I hope so.
Or
This
if we
show
just get him off there.
this show definitely feels like it is geared towards Dragon Quest fans who know its source material and who know that
Mhm.
that
Yes.
Dai as a character is influential as is his story to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Basically, my understanding is Dragon Quest 3, the manga for this is inherently based off that, but every other game that comes after it pulls stuff from this manga, so from this anime. So for the fans of Dragon Quest, please continue loving this. We'll have to see if it makes us love it or not.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like him in Super Smash Brothers.
yeah. It's a good character.
I don't like him in his show. I'll be honest.
Some people
Um,
probably don't like him
we'll
in the
see.
show or in
Who
Super
knows?
Smash
Maybe,
Brothers.
maybe,
a
maybe
lot of
he,
people don't like
maybe,
him in Super
maybe.
Smash Brothers.
Oh, maybe he becomes really dark one of these episodes. Something
Who
happens, and
knows?
Murder,
No.
kill, murder,
No.
death, die.
he just becomes
No.
angry.
No.
He is a hero.
He will be angry. That's a Toriyama thing, but
He'll be
Yeah.
angry and then go Goku Super Saiyan and one-shot everybody.
Dylan, any other thoughts?
No, I said my piece.
Okay. Then let's keep the trend going. Let's
yes.
head on to Iwakakaru Sports Climbing Girls.
Yes. Okay.
Anime of the season, boy.
This anime is definitely an anime that you watch with friends. Because
Preferably with alcohol.
okay. Where do I even begin? Essentially,
Where do
you
I
have a
begin?
girl. It's a high school setting anime, and essentially you just have this main character who's not worth anything, really. She's just wandering around her school. She has to join a club. She doesn't like any sports clubs that she thought she didn't like track and field and all the other stuff. And she's also at an all-girls school. Let's get that clear. She just wanders around looking for her club when she stumbles across this really cool rock climbing club. And she essentially is tried out as a rock climber for the first time ever. Super OP. She's introduced by climbing really easily, just up and down type deal, and then immediately brought to like the beginner level climbing of only climbing the designated color rocks. The best part of it is the second character, June. She is completely ripped and is insanely just weird.
Shredded.
She's ripped. And she's just teaching her how to climb for the first episode. Not even halfway through, they're only climbing, which I think is fine because that's what it is. It's a rock climbing anime. And then you get the captain and this assistant captain, I would assume. They come in and they're like, "Oh, new members, sweet!" And all of a sudden, there's a big competition of seeing who will stay in the club and will be forced to leave. They do their own. They have a race to climb to the top first to see who will leave or who will stay. It's June versus the main character, which is
Konomi?
Oh my, yes.
Nomi. Yes,
Konomi.
Can't
Konomi.
remember her fucking name.
And they just have this race. We've come to find out that Nomi is a gamer. She's a gamer girl. And her powers are to transform the wall into a Tetris type looking landscape. So she knows exactly where to go and to mark her pathways. She does a trial and they eventually tie. And June comes down and becomes a little tsundere and changes her mind about having her leave, and they go on as a club. Come to find out, the captain, they have a tournament, a state tournament the next day, and that they would be partaking in this tournament as first years. They go and you meet this evil chick with like spider-like tendrils, and she harasses our main character, very sexually harasses. Let's put it that way. They then climb where you meet the resident cat girl, who
One of them.
puts one of them puts all of these bad tricks into Inomi's mind of how to climb the wall. Where when she eventually fails, she comes back down all depressed, and June just has a little sit down talk with her. They become best friends. You get to see June in casual wear after as well, which is pretty cool. Um, but she then goes on to her second trial, and she's climbing. She's got the gamer mode active, and she gets higher and higher while the June and the cat girl are just talking, and the cat girl's getting more and more irritated because she's better than her. She climbs, and she eventually fails because she gives out, but she beats the cat girl. And essentially that's the second episode. And then probably the best part is the cat girl meets the spider girl, and spider girl just chokes her and takes her to the girls' locker room. You don't hear it, you don't see it, but I think something happened in that locker room.
Boys,
Great synopsis. Great synopsis.
you all
Excellent work.
watched this together, right?
Yeah.
We all watched
So
it together.
collectively, tell me how you feel about Iwagakuru Sports Climbing Girls.
It's the
Okay.
greatest show of the world. It's
She
my
has
favorite anime.
she has a broken ability called gamer mode.
Gamer mode. Yep. We all just learned that this is called gamer mode.
Dude, she Candy Crushes the shit out of that wall.
Candy Crush gamer mode.
She activates gamer mode, and the problem is that she smurfs when she's in gamer mode, and
Yeah.
she just absolutely wrecks everything. I liked the educational video of rock climbing.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good.
I think this is a great.
I have rock
experience for
climbed
all of us.
before. I've taken my
Yes.
hand at it and tried it. It's fun. I never knew it was that competitive or that like
Yes.
there were like strategies and like names to things you can do. Like the fucking what was the thing on the left called like the ladder?
The Egyptian
Ladder up.
hold or something like that.
Egyptian hold. There's like the ladder stall or whatever. Where you fucking like
Yeah.
put your
Like
hands on the
it's
side.
very educational in the form of this is actually a thing that you can do type deal.
And I think I don't want to steal. I think what Jackman said when we thought about it a little bit, but I think this is the first time we have a main character that gets on a competitive team where they're actually just really good.
Yes. I mentioned that at the very end because they actually do win this tournament, their first day tournament. The captain is first place state, I'm pretty sure, countrywide or something like that. And the second captain or assistant captain is like pretty high up there as well.
Also Smurfs.
So they're on this. The main characters on this team where they're already renowned, and their school is actually the top school. However, the captain wants to make them a team worthy of the state or like countrywide type deal. So it would be cool to see how far they progress if everyone makes it to like Team Japan and stuff like that. I think it would be very cool.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how far the Yuri progresses in the show.
That's true.
That is one of the most interesting parts. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, it's entertaining. It's exactly what you expect out of this show. There's some Hantanaga Hugas, there's some ecchi garbage, but it's funny. It's fantastic to watch with the boys.
Oh yeah.
And talk about gamer focus mode and casual wear June with. I mean, did you see those frames, bro? Like, did you see those frames?
I'm a simp. Unfortunately, I
She
simp.
completely changes form. She's this
God.
wrecked, just insane monster when she's
Yep.
in her element, and then she just changes into a casual schoolwear, and she's like, "Hey, what's up? You want to be friends?"
Unfortunately, I am a simp for
water.
glasses, and yeah, June and glasses.
I need to change my name in Duo for June and Glasses.
June and glasses is
June and
very
Glasses pretty fun.
simp
I
worthy.
mean, I don't know about you guys. My favorite month of the year
Of course,
is
I'm
indeed
not
June.
legally saying that I simp because she
Mhm.
might not be of age, but assuming that she might be.
She's
Next
in high
question.
school. Spoilers. She's not.
Next question. Shauna, what did you think of the show?
She's a first year in high school.
Jackman,
She's not.
when you picked this show, I don't know if it was you or someone else, but you said this show is gonna make me want to go rock climbing.
Yep.
I can't believe you were fucking right.
I know, right?
So
Oh, yeah, no.
I am not a fan.
Anime does that, dude.
The podcast knows I am not a fan of moe, and I am not a fan of ecchi. Yeah, well, oh, do you know something's coming later, Dash?
Moe and ecchi. Oh, wait a minute.
I was surprised at how toned down and ecchi this felt, and maybe that's just because I think we were
Toned
watching
down?
straight hentai last season.
Sure, there was some pretty
Also
bad stuff
true.
last season, I heard.
Yeah. So like this
Hentai,
is
hentai.
this even feels like if I was putting it on an ecchi level with Food Wars, that it's significantly lower than that.
It's-
So like this is tolerable. I feel like I'm watching a regular sports show because I just feel like it feels more ecchi because it's girls. Like if I
Yes.
like when I watch Kuroko and when I watch and if you watch Free,
yeah,
there are
Kuroko.
moments in those shows that could probably be called ecchi if it wasn't for the fact that it was guys.
Testosterone.
Yeah. That's what this feels like. I like this cast and I like the premise. I enjoyed that. Yeah, they're a good team. I can't believe how high this show is on my list in terms of rank. I was
forget
not
how
expecting
entertaining
this.
show was. I was expecting.
Okay,
to
it's
be-
also the fact that it's just like they teach you
Yeah.
how to rock climb at the simplest level, and then it brings it to like a level of like, okay, this is like the hardest move anyone can do type deal. And there's also this camera angle. I don't know if you noticed it,
I,
but
I,
like, okay, there's some
The
camera
top-down
angles that are
angle
etchy,
or through the wall.
but then there's a camera
Yes.
angle where you're behind the wall and the camera's facing the character.
Mhm.
And you see like how they're holding the wall from like behind the wall. And I think that's a really cool point of view.
I'm
We got
super
rock climbing
excited.
expertise. I'm excited to watch more of this show. This show's never leaving.
And this show opened with
Very strong.
this show opened with one of those, you're at the end. Are you ready for it? And then it sent you back. And I'm a
Yes.
sucker when a show does that, especially a sports show.
Forgot to mention that.
So I really do enjoy that. I can't believe I'm as excited for this show as this is like one of the harder shows to not have watched the 3rd and 4th episode for.
Gamer focus. Hantanaga Hugas. What more can you need?
If you didn't
I mean,
notice,
honestly.
she also does have like a hair
puzzle
clip that's a
piece.
puzzle
Yep.
piece. Yeah, I noticed it.
yes, I loved that so much. That touch was just like,
I can't wait for it to change colors.
This bitch plays Tetris. You know she do. But no,
I
climbing girls like I was expecting
It's a
Keijo,
pog show.
and I got Haikyuu, right? Haikyuu with like late season Food Wars levels of ecchi, where it's like it's not too much, but it's like it's tasteful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just some tasteful titty. That's
I-
all you're looking for sometimes.
the last thing I want to say is that I do enjoy her trying to explain where her skills come from, which is just like I'm a
And
gamer.
everyone's just like,
and they're like
what
gamer?
the hell?
It's like it's
What is
just
this? What is this
gamer?
video
What's a-
game?
I don't understand, and it's
What is
it's
this
funny
gamer
to me.
focus mode? It's
And
cheating.
they're just standing there just like completely jacked and ripped, and they're just like, what the fuck's a gamer?
And I do really appreciate that the show, her flaws aren't that she's bad. Her flaws are just that she's not trained yet. Like
Yeah,
she
she
just doesn't
has
have
no
the
idea
muscle
what
to
the
keep
sport
going.
is.
She also doesn't have the muscle to keep going. Like she
Mhm.
needs to build it up. Like there's a lot of things that are holding her back that I enjoy that I think are going to let her become a very good character and a good at the things she's doing. And I appreciate after watching so many sports anime when we actually let our main character just be good. It's nice, you know. They
Yeah,
don't have to be like specifically
bottom of
good
the
at one
barrel.
thing like every other
Yeah.
sports anime. I appreciate they're just good. That's the show's good enough for me.
It's good enough so far. That's a good way to put it.
We ready to move on?
I'm
heck
down.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm never ready to move on from that show.
No, we're ready.
I actually don't think we are, guys.
Never mind, never mind.
Oh,
Dylan,
God, go back,
Dodge,
go
make it
back, go
quick,
back.
Make it quick, make it real
Dodge,
quick.
we have one episode. Talk to me about my
Okay.
Setsu opening act.
Okay, so my set's opening act, it's very simple plot based.
Is
Chibi
it-
lollies who are actually graduated from high school are trying to do comedy, and they're a duet group, and there's 4 of them because they're friends with 2 other people who are also a duet group, and they're just trying to be good at comedy. That's all it comes down to. It opens up with them they're helping out the main girl's Mafuyu's sister, who's like in charge of like their school talent show or whatever, and they're subbing in as like an air band. And then she tries to tell this joke of this impression that goes really flat and hits even flatter for us because hi, we're American. We don't even understand the references, which is why comedy is hard to execute in anime in a Western audience. But yeah, I will say this show had exactly 2 good parts. One, the ending song "Up and Down's" very cute and enjoyable. And 2, there was one scene that was fucking hilarious where Mafuyu goes, "Why don't you just pause for a bit before delivering the next line?" Followed
yeah.
by 10 seconds, cutting to a shot of the blue hair where she's just in dead silence. And that part I watched like 3 times over, and I think it's still hilarious.
I didn't take it that
But
far.
the rest of the show kind of missed on comedy, unfortunately. It hasn't tried at comedy really, other than like the bad joke that she tries to tell, right? The bad sketch that she does. It hasn't tried that hard. I think it could get better, and I'm hoping it improves. But like the first episode leaves a lot to be desired. Outside of that one really really funny scene. That's about it.
Mm. I mean,
Can we all agree that was one of the funniest
so
parts this episode,
Woost.
Okay. Okay, Paul, do you want to start or do you want me to go?
Bro,
I'm gonna be real quick. Can I?
Yeah,
I'm not
I think
watching
the doors
this.
on the show is gonna go.
I am normally against like the show only has one episode. We should give it more. Like I'm usually in favor of being like we should give it another. Dude, please no, please God no. I rate my shows on a 1 out of 10 scale. This shit you don't want to know where this show fell on that 1 out of 10 scale. Dude, it's the only show that is consistently so much lower than everything else. and I can't, dude. Comedy is already so hit or miss for me in anime. It's worse in my opinion. If we have a comedy show on this podcast, we should not be funnier than the comedy show on the podcast.
Hey,
And I
like I
think
said, it
we're
had one
leagues
good
above it.
moment.
That was the only time I chuckled, and I think it may have got one chuckle out of me eventually out of the door joke, just out of me being so fed up and fucking done with it that I wanted the show to be over.
Hey, like I said, the joke grows on you.
I hate it.
Okay, so
I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's as bad as you're
okay,
making it.
I was kind of okay with it when I first I walked into the episode. She's young and she's at a comedian like show. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is where it's gonna be. She's gonna become an actually good comedian type deal, and like we'd move on. Coming into it, I was like maybe 3 or 4 minutes after the opening. I was like, this show is god awful. I cannot just like I had a this isn't my genre of show to begin with, so it was hard for me to even watch a little bit of it. But I just couldn't get it after the air guitar. Like the singing was fine, it was good, but I was like, this is a comedy. Where's the comedy that's coming in? And then the failed joke, I paused it there and watched The Day I Became God episode 2.
That's a
And I
mistake.
never finished it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought for a second the show was gonna be an idol show because again, I don't read the fucking synopsis. This shit's I don't read, but they started doing their airband shit. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. Oh no!
Oh, they're not
Are you
funny.
telling me you would have liked it if this was an idol show, Dylan?
I mean, it wasn't bad.
I
It wasn't
agree.
bad for the
I
air
like
guitar part.
I like the airband part too.
Love Live might have been a better show than this one.
I think we had
The
a
rap
couple
show
of
would have been better
options.
than this one.
Yo, it actually is, dude. I'm not gonna
Is
lie.
it?
It's
Damn.
pretty good.
But there's not much to say about this show. Let's just
No.
put it away.
Yeah.
I will say I am there's some a little part where it's like I feel so bad. It only has one episode, but also God bless. Uh
Yeah, this is one of the animes where like you'll just be scrolling through YouTube and like you'll just see like a random snippet of it and you click it, you're like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
So the time we're saving here, on not spending an hour on my setsu, we're gonna lose it because Dylan, I need you to talk to me about Noblesse. Now again, we watched an OVA for Noblesse because it was recommended
Yeah.
you do so. Yeah, you need to watch the OVA for Noblesse before
No, I
watching.
don't.
I
Me
think
too.
so.
I think you
You
should.
have
I
to.
think you should watch the
Fine.
OVA before
Okay,
watching the
okay,
first two
okay.
episodes of
So,
Noblesse.
of course, I'm just amazing at explaining shows, and I picked a show with a 30-minute OVA that went the entire time, along with two 20-minute episodes. And okay, so fuck. So you got this. There's vampires, by the way, and it's
Yep,
like
uh-huh.
it's not like your like typical like Dracula like kind of thing. It's more like Twilight where they're hot and everyone's just fucking hot.
And broken garbage.
Everyone is just hot and they're just supernatural and they're like the sun doesn't hurt me and they're like oh so like
It's so true.
just
I
also
sparkle.
a lot of the times during the show like they'll literally just ignore chicks and they're like ah God, he's so hot and like even the one character the one time goes like why are their hearts look why do their eyes look like hearts. But so it's a show about a vampire. His name's they go by Rye, but he has this really long name, and he
Right.
has he has a like a butler, like a second in hand. His name is Frankenstein,
Mhm.
and Frankenstein's the director of a school, and he's been the director of a school for 820 years because that's how long Rye has been asleep for. But Rye wakes up and he comes out of this dope ass coffin and he's
Gucci
like
looking
Rye's
coffin, by
like,
the
"Oh,
way.
I don't know anything about like anything." And the director's like, "You know, it would be a really good idea. Go to school here." He's like, "Okay." So then it turns into an academy anime. So right there he's like talking with like and he meets the other characters, meets these two guys, and they're kind of like the Brandon the Brawn exact archetype.
Yep.
Um becomes friends with them and then in the meantime, there's this group of people known as the Union, and they're all vampires, I think, pretty much, and they're all like super fucking strong and shit. And they did like these experiments on humans to like change them into like half vampires, and they gave them like it gave them like weird powers, and um they go looking for Rye's coffin because they want to. Well, they didn't know he's out of the coffin, but they're looking for the coffin, right? So they go and look for the coffin, and what happens is they can't find the coffin. It's disappeared. So they attack the nearest person and be like, "What did you see?" And the guy bites him and can see like his memories and shit. And then what happens next? Sorry, a lot happened.
They have a
So
He turned into a vampire.
they have a singular
a
girl who's
dual thing.
connected to
they
the
yeah, so
case.
they see a girl and then they corner her, but all the people are there to help. So then this big like fight happens in like this fucking building, and these two experiment things like are chasing them and shit. And in the meantime, there's like these two vampires from the Union who are like, "You guys are experiments, you're scumbags. We'll teach you how to do shit around here." And then there's like internal conflict between them because experiments don't like being experiments. It's seen as lesser than the actual vampires. So then they fight. And then, meanwhile, the vampires also trying to kill the witnesses because there can be no witnesses to the Union. Um, and so then fucking Rye and Frankenstein show up, and Frankenstein's got like purple lightning powers and completely decimates this chick. And Noblesse is, or the Rye dude, is just like, yeah, I'm gonna force steal all your blood and make you explode. Um,
Chaos,
but
baby.
so that's the OVA basically. And then
Oh god, it is just the
the one experiment ended up dying, but the other one, the cool guy with the long claws, ended up living. So then
Wolverine?
Frankenstein's like, yeah, you should come live with us and like, try to reintegrate with society, not do this whole like union shit. And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, by the way, you're like a security guard now. And then there's two scenes that are pretty much identical that like come up, but like basically everything is just high school drama. Then like there's these guys like, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm a big guy. And then the guy comes up, he's like, you're not a big guy. And he's like, I'm gonna beat your ass. And they fucking fight and they fucking kick each other's asses. And then like right before like anything serious happen or like too serious happens, fucking the experiment guy comes over and just fucking
M21.
throws him into a fucking car and slams the fucking car in, and he's like, "Oh, you're lucky people are watching, or you'd be dead right now." And then
Second episode.
I think the second episode starts. And there's two more noblesses who come into the school.
The noblesse
And
are the vampires, by the way.
yes,
The name for
that's
the vampires.
thank God you said that because I forgot.
You're good.
And the reason you know they're noblesse is because their eyes are red, and no one has fucking noticed this yet, apparently.
Nope,
Um,
only bad people have red eyes.
and the experiment sees them walk in, and he's like, "Oh fuck." Um, the rector sees him come in. He's like, "Oh fuck," and he's like, "Oh, they think he mind controlled me, but I'm not that fucking stupid, so I'll just go along with it." And then, and then like the same fucking scene happens where like there's a big guys from the last episode try to beat up the brawn guy, and the noblesses are there now, which is two of them, a guy and a girl. And okay, the fucking noblesses are looking for the coffin too, by the way. And the one noblesse calls the experiment guy a piece of shit and tries to fight him. And they're like, "Oh fuck, your noblesse friend's in danger. Let's go find her." And then she was with the other group who were fighting the henchmen guys.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
You're doing good. You're almost halfway
You're
there.
literally
Halfway there.
you're almost at the end of the episode.
Halfway there.
And then they fight those guys. The guy pulls out a gun, like, "No, fuck you, bitch." And then at the end, the fucking stupid fucking brawn dude's like, "Hey, yeah, these noblesses can just live with you too, director, right? Yeah." And smacks the fucking Rye on the back. And the director, meanwhile, thinks that like everyone's just gonna die instantly right there. But then they don't. And then I think the episode ends. And
Yeah.
God, dude, it's
We-
a good show. It's a good show.
You
Like
have-
it is. I like the drama. I like the mysterious side of it. I like the action that sometimes it brings, the powers. But like, bro, could they not make it so confusing?
Dylan,
This
you
show gives me some serious fucking devil as a part-timer vibes.
you missed one thing, Dylan, and that's super
Okay.
fucking impressive.
What did
We have episode 1 gives us a lineup of new antagonists to replace the old ones who died in the OVA,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
like this task force for the Union. We see them murder a bunch of people, and in episode 2 we see they're in the city. So they're our
Yeah, it's the
next
Union-
batch.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, that's it. They're the next batch of
Yeah,
antagonists.
it's the Union version of the A-Team, right? It's
Yeah.
like is the villains, like this like super soldier squad, who went in and like just like blew up everyone in Vietnam or like some war place and just like, yep, this team of 5
Yeah, I
dudes,
forgot
we're
that
OP.
happened.
and we got
Yeah.
a hacker, and like we have a for lack of better terminology, let's scroll down to a certain show. Yeah, we had a hacker, we had a
cutthroat, a
brawler, we had a
brawler.
cutthroat. Like, I'm not gonna say it's the same shit, but it's kind of the same shit. And but no, so those are the main antagonists. You have M21, the super soldier slash noblesse like testy, who's not a human but not a vampire, that the noblesse white haired guy hates, but I mean, just because he's racist, I guess. And
Okay.
I mean, yeah, like I said, major Devils of Hard Time vibes, where it's like, oh, we're all just living in modern Earth, hee hee. We don't know
Okay,
anything
so
about this world.
my question is, are there two main characters, or is it main character and just a friend main character? Because the guy with the red hair,
You.
I feel is the main character, but Rai is the
No.
main
No,
character.
it's supposed
Ryzen.
to be Rye, but man, are they give episode 1 was entirely M21, and episode 2 and 1 and the OVA focused very heavily on you. And man, or Shinwoo. I'm gonna use the
I think
name
it's
they
I
called
think
him
it's
in the show.
Shinwoo.
They start calling him you though. It does a weird name loss here from the OVA to the show, but they call him Yu-chan. Um,
Yo-chan.
He's a fucking Chad.
I
Let's
like
just
his.
put that out there.
He's the
Dude's
Chad.
insane.
I like
After
him.
the oh, go. Sorry.
I like him. I like M21. I think the show's doing a great job with its supporting cast. I have no idea what to expect from Ray,
Yeah,
which is, I think, a problem. I think he
I-
needs something because he's a blank slate of a character.
I
And-
also like that the female noblesse, that the nerd guy is simping super hard for her.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you get it, guy. You got this.
So I thought that after the first, or like after the OVA, I was like, dude with red hair is gonna be turned into a vampire. I was like, there's no way this guy's not gonna work for Ray, right? And it didn't happen. I was like, wait, maybe I was wrong. And then he just goes into a fight scene and just beats everyone's ass. And then the next episode, he beats everyone's ass again. It's like, hello. But I think it's cool. I like the school drama. I think it'll be cool to see how it goes from there.
Yeah. My overall thoughts on Noblesse is I think it's a great show. I think it's gonna be a great show. I have I'm not very worried about it being good. It just doesn't have anything that hooks me yet. I don't. There's something about it that just hasn't. Like, I know it's good.
still
I'll
building
watch it
up.
and know it's good. Yeah, I think it's gonna take a little bit of time. Baby Manwa syndrome. Just everything in here. There's a lot of it.
Oh.
I've liked both the last two manhwas that's been adapted.
That's true.
That's a hot take in its own right, apparently. But I think they both did a
Mm.
good job in what they could do. So I this looks like it's gonna be really solid. I don't have any worries about Noblesse really. I think it's just a solid show.
I am worried about its consistency and how good it can be, because this could either be as good as the other manhwa, like a Tower of God, or the other one that went too fast, or it can go too fast, right? Like,
Yeah.
you just look at the manhwa, like, I feel like Tower of God adapted very well, had good pacing, and then on a very high note, very suspenseful, makes me excited for season 2. Whereas Tower of God went fucking 900 miles an hour, light speed through
Got
the
a high
show,
school.
where we went. Sorry, God of High School went from literally basic martial arts tournament to killing fucking God in 12 episodes, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's like a rough day of me playing a JRPG, but like,
Yep.
so I think Noblesse is going to be as good as its pacing, because it could either be really fast, really slow, or hits that just right mark that leaves you wanting more for a season 2.
Yeah, and there's a lot here. There's a lot of shit here.
Oh, yeah.
That
There's a lot to
if
unpack.
it does not have good pacing, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna have the same problems that God of High School did for this podcast. Which, mind you, God of High School still broke top 3. But I think that was only because of what it was up against. Just didn't quite have that level. I think given what we have so far this season, I think if Noblesse's pacing isn't good, it will not break top 3. I think it'll be a requirement
Agreed.
for it.
That's fair. Yeah, it's
Agreed.
gonna be hard to keep interest, I think, if it
Because
keeps being so
I mean, there's
dense.
3 potential shows that are already, like we've talked about, they're somewhat decent in their own state of mind.
We still have a
That
couple
could
of
100%.
shows to talk
We
about.
still have a 2. Was it 2 or 3 left?
4.
4.
We
Okay.
got a lot
It's
left,
8,
yeah.
4. Dylan,
5.
what are your thoughts?
It's really confusing. It's really
Yeah.
it's a really confusing show. I like
4 left.
the characters. I like the art style.
Mm-hmm. It's very
And
pretty.
it's that show that's like that guy's not in high school kind of show.
The humor here is good. I like the humor here. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good funny bits.
But yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think it's a bad show. I think there are worse shows. I need to see more from this show to be like,
Mhm.
oh, it's top 3 or
Yeah.
oh, it's top 5. I think it's fine for this week.
Absolutely. I'm in full agreement on that one.
Yeah.
I think it's fine probably for more than just this week.
I think we'll be getting more Noblesse, and we'll be interesting to see how it progresses.
Okay. That was I'm glad to have not spent too much time there. If we're ready to move on, we can.
Deep synopsis.
Good.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Hit us. Dylan will
Please
be
stop.
referring to this show as Sorcery Fight. The rest of us will be calling it Jujutsu Kaisen
I will
because
try.
Let's go, Jackman.
I
Get
trip
another
up
one.
over
Alright.
it a couple of times.
Jujutsu Kaisen is probably my favorite show this season, hands down. Other than maybe the first one
Okay.
we did, which is
Akudama.
Akudama
Akudama.
Drive.
So this one is probably up there for my own personal, but we'll see. Essentially, it's a show about curses. That's basically the rundown. However, the show starts off the two main characters and the dilemma of the whole entire show. You have Itadori Yuji being in the process of being executed, and then it snaps straight into the OP. We have no other information from the first couple minutes other than that. And let me tell you, this OP is insanely good in my opinion.
I agree.
It's a
Mhm.
slight jazzy feel, and then it goes straight into the episode. It starts out with a happiest vibe of Yuji just calling into his grandfather, checking in on him, type deal. They eventually go out of that, and Yuji, or the second main character, I always forget his name. The guy with the black hair.
Mhm.
Let's see here. Essentially, he goes to their school looking for this cursed object, and when he shows up to this support, like where it's supposed to be, it's gone, and he just goes into this comedy that I find hilarious. He's looking for it frantically, and then he calls his boss, and he's like, "It's not here. Where the hell did it go?" Type deal. Eventually, oh god, I'm losing my track. Eventually,
Lot of shit
Yuji,
happened.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff happens. As soon as the guy can't find the cursed object, it snaps back to school, and Yuji is in his occult phenomenon research club, where more comedy happens, with a dilemma of his club being taken down by the club president, or by the president of the school type deal, and eventually the track and coach fucking guy comes in because Yuji is on the track and field team, and they have a little showdown. When the guy with the black hair who's trying to find the curses comes to the
Fushiguro.
field,
Ushiguro.
Ishiguro, he
Ushiguro.
comes to the field and finds out that the field is cursed, like what Yuji said it was. You first see the first curse as well, which is a mixture of CGI and hand drawn, which I find is really good. It's not full flat out CGI, so it makes the curses a little bit more flawless, I feel like. Um, Not even halfway through, after after Yuji has a little showdown with his track and field coach, you see how really strong he is. And essentially the track and field coach lets him go, and you get another small brief period of comedy, where he just runs at 1,000,000 miles per hour to go to visit his grandfather in the hospital. When the show immediately shows its true colors to dark, Yuji then goes to the hospital with flowers. He's talking with his grandfather, and his grandfather tells his last words to Yuji, and his grandfather dies right there on the spot. It's a little heartbreaking, but you really sense the mood change from episode where it's been nothing but comedy, almost like slight brief comedy snippets, to something straight dark and sinister almost. Yuji then fills out all the paperwork, and then he talks with the main dude, black hair. I'm gonna forget his name on repeat here. And he basically describes to Yuji what these curses are. Yuji then gives out the cursed object, and there's nothing in there. He's been following this cursed trail of smell or whatever. Come to find out that they're gonna do something with the cursed object at the occult lab at the school. And with Yuji finding out that this cursed object is really bad, they rush to the school. And when we get the scene of the two cult members trying to peel off the cursed object seal, and things go bad really quickly. The light blows out, and you find out when this piece of paper comes off, it's a finger. It's a cursed finger,
It's
and
fingy.
it's a fingy, and you see
I
a
hate you.
an eye appear out of the sky, out of the ceiling, drops down. Essentially it just goes really dark really quickly. You get into the school, and you just see this ominous vibe to it of just dark death. And Yuji is faced with this dilemma of, do I go in to help type deal, when it snaps back into the school, and you see the female of the club hiding, and this monster curse comes walking through. Really horrific. When you see the second member of the club come up with a curse on his head and probably dead, come to find out that this curse is pretty bad. Um, and we're gonna basically get into a little bit more of a fight. I'm gonna slim it down a little bit, but you get the main character of black hair runs in, and it has some of the best running animation I've seen in a while.
Mhm.
All the curses are freaky, well done, and every curse is different feeling, which makes them unique. Um, the first fight of the show starts off with the dude running in and summoning some sort of dogs, like hell dogs, which the animation is super smooth and clean. Um, while the music is playing as well, it just sets the feeling of, oh shit's going down type deal. Let's see here. When all of a sudden things turn worse, Yuji just changes his mind. He has a little bit of a character development in the first episode, and he snaps through glass to basically destroy this curse. And he picks up his two friends, and they basically have a fight. The black guy, the dude of black hair, just kills this cursed object. Then they get onto the roof somehow. I don't remember how they did. I think another curse showed up and threw him up there. Um, and essentially, Yuji is fighting to the death with this curse, and he eventually eats the finger and gains this immense power, which is the curse of the finger. And he basically becomes this badass with tattoos, and that's essentially the end of the first episode. We don't get an ending song either in the first episode. With the second episode, it's essentially just a major information dump episode. Nothing really exciting happens except for the first 5 minutes or so. Essentially, this Goro Sensei, you get this feel of like power struggle between the main curse and Goro, who is this teacher at this high school, and they show his power for 10 seconds, and he's just teleporting everywhere behind the cursed Yuji, and they basically just have a little information dump explaining how they got here, and then they snap back to where they started the first episode. Yuji's unconscious, about to be executed, and Goro tells the whole main dilemma, the whole object of this whole story. Essentially, Yuji's gonna have to eat all the fingers
All
of
of
this
the
curse,
fingies.
all
Chicken
the
fingies.
fingies,
All the chicken
um,
fingies.
and that he will be executed after he completes this mission. A little bit later on in the episode, he goes to his grandfather's funeral where he eats another finger and becomes even stronger, which shows Goro that he can indeed control this power. Eventually, he gets to the school, Tokyo. What is it? It's
Secret Curse
Tokyo
Magic Academy.
Metropolitan Jiu-Jitsu Technical High School, where he meets the director, and has a little fight with Yuji. It's all super smooth, and essentially Yuji has to convince the director to let him into the high school. and he basically just changes his ideal, saying that he is the only one who can do this job. That's why he has to be here. And lots of small bits of comedy during the fight, which I feel is a really good thing to break the mood. Um, and he's basically just fighting this fucking plushy thing, and he gets his ass just whooped. Overall, I'm excited for it. There's a lot of cool little snippets of comedy that I personally enjoy. I think the fighting scenes are really hard to describe when talking,
Yeah.
but super well smooth, clean fighting scenes overall. If anyone wants to tune into
Who wants
Okay.
that,
who wants to gush about it first?
Me.
Okay, okay. Can we explain exactly what's the main reason why this is a bad thing though? The curse.
No. So
okay,
All right, fair enough.
show is so fucking cool, by the way. Like shit is like pachoo, pachoo. What's the show called?
Jujitsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen? Yeah, fuck it.
Yes.
Sorcery fight.
Jujutsu
Jujutsu
Kaisen.
Kaisen is dude, this show is so lit. Like it's so fucking cool. This guy, the good dude, has like a fucking bandana around his eyes. He's like Kakashi from
Like
Naruto, except
Gojo.
like he
Yup.
actually just can't fucking see. But he can see kind of
But
thing.
he Smurfs and Pisslow.
He's also like 20 million years old or something. I have no idea. Like he's just
28, but it's okay.
no. The fucking white-haired Smurf.
Yeah, Gojo, he's 28.
Yeah, he's a normal human.
He's a
Normal
teacher.
human.
Okay.
I
He's
thought
actually
I looked it up
28.
before this, no, he is 28.
The demon, the curse is like giga
Thousands
old.
of years old. Yeah.
I thought he was there around that
No,
time.
no, he just knows about
No,
it.
no, no, no.
He knows the lore.
All right. Well, I'm stupid. Anyway, so yeah, shit is dope, right?
Nurse, by the way.
Shit's hitting the fan. There's a curse. There's like bleh, bleh. And he's like boo, boo. And he's like, whatever you do, don't eat the finger.
Don't eat the
I was like,
fingy.
I'm
what'd you
eating the
say?"
thingy.
He's like half into the finger, and he's like, "What'd you say, by the way?" But yeah, huge fan of the main character. I love the main character. I
Yeah.
think he's amazing. He's like that edge of like ditzy, but still, but not ditzy. He is that like Naruto. I'm gonna reference Naruto. Sorry, of that Naruto protag where like he could think of like smart shit, but he looks dumb.
Mhm.
Yes.
He's literally Jun Mori from last season.
I
Yeah.
mentioned in the finale that I think we're gonna see Mori's characterdom better in this season, and it was because I had already watched the first episode of this show.
Oh my god.
Fair.
But yeah. Yeah, show's fucking lit. It's not even fuck you if you think it is.
It's really hard to
Yeah, I think I'm
explain.
writing it off.
It has to really
I
fuck
hate
up.
Dodge.
Dosh, you wanna
Yeah,
do
what's
that
up?
little connecting piece you wanted to about why these fingers
so,
are bad?
So we'll go a little bit in more depth into the actual lore. So essentially, like thousands of years ago, there's this super giga curse guy, who's Sukuna, and so they sealed away his power through like these. I think is it 12 thingies?
20. He's got
20.
20.
He's got
Man,
4
got 20
arms,
thingies.
baby.
4
20
arms.
thingies, and these are spread across the world. And they've located, I think, 6 of them, right?
Yes.
Including the one
The
that he
the
ate.
org
the
has
2 that he
6.
ate.
He's consumed 2 of them.
Yeah. And so the more these thingies get together, the more powerful the curse becomes. Powerful curses are attracted to them because when you ingest a curse, you gain power from that curse. And in this case, normally when you ingest the thingy, Sukuna takes over your body and Smurfs and Gigapislow because he's broken. But for some reason, our main character, Yuji, I think it's Itadori.
Itadori, yes.
He's OP in regular life. The dude Smurfs. He breaks all the world records without even trying, and so he can just be like, "Shut up, Sukuna. Get your ass back in line." For now, 2 fingies in, he can still control it. But Gojo is kind of like, I'm gonna kill him when he doesn't. But like for now, this is kind of funny to watch. So basically, the more he ingests, the more strong the curse will become. And if he ingests all 24, Sukuna in theory could be like revived and like, you know, destroy the world. They also cannot destroy these curses. They're the only curse in the world which you can't destroy by normal means, which is just like using other curses to destroy curses. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the other characters have their broken curse abilities. Also, this show has good boys. Because
Dude, the good boys, the doggies are
Kushiguro-
insane.
They're
like
so good.
Kushiguro summons doggies or hellhounds,
It's like-
and they're adorable. They're good boys.
It's like what
that's
Naruto
it.
wanted to do, but better.
It's like what Naruto wanted to do, but without trying as hard, and without froggies.
It's
But yeah, I mean, the show's hype. I mean, well, It's not going anywhere. So
Did we mention how
the-
fucking clean the action is on this
Yes.
show?
Oh,
it's very
this
good.
Bro.
the fight
It's up there with like
sequences.
top three.
Oh,
Like
it's
there's
so
3 shows that
good.
have really good action this season. Between that, like Akudama Drive, and some other shows have some pretty good action and like some good
Yeah, Dragon
animation.
Quest.
I would say we'll get to it later, but I think Wandering Witch is one of the prettiest looking shows this season.
There's a lot of pretty
Um,
shows this season.
But yeah, no, Jujutsu Kaisen is just kind of nuts. The only thing that sucks is that it's 24 episodes, which is great for
Mhm.
us, but awful for the podcast because it
Yep.
might slow down a lot after these first 2 episodes. But first episodes is going.
It's kicked off real quickly. Let's put
It's
it that way.
moving.
I-
It's moving.
I will say we have once before we streamed and Dylan was here had a show that was a 24 episode show actually win. It's possible. It all just depends on how well it splits
it's
those
very possible.
24.
Mine
For
did?
reference, like it was
What?
Sherlock.
Oh,
Uh,
I wasn't there.
Yeah, you weren't there for that. That show literally splits its arc down the middle, which is why it worked so well for the podcast. We'll see how Jujutsu Kaisen does. I still, however, like it has. I don't know, man. It might be 24, but I don't think that matters to me. This is
I
such
think
a
this
good
thing could.
show.
I think
It's
this
so
could be a
good.
super long running show if need be, as well.
It could also just end in 20 episodes.
Yeah. I
could.
have ideas of ways this show could end, and all of them get me excited for how it could go.
Technically, it could literally just be a finger an episode. Like
Yeah.
he just eats every single finger an episode, and then the last 4 episodes are just like insane nonstop fighting
I mean,
type
it's also
deal.
possible you get a couple fingers, like 2 here, 3 there.
That's
It all
true.
depends.
Yeah.
So like you could speed it up a little bit, have a little bit of downtime. I mean, I can't see, my brain can't get out of my mind that this show is gonna do the, he'll get all the fingers, and then this character we've come to love is gonna have to die. And
Yeah,
that kind of
100%.
shit hurts me, and I love it when shows do that. So I mean, if that's where this show is going, I'm already ready for it to hurt
Yeah.
me in every
I mean,
means possible.
Some good stats on the show. I'm just like looking around AniList right now. Apparently, it was ranked first in Japan's bookstore employees' top
Whew.
manga of 2018.
Nice.
Jesus.
So, pretty long running then if it's still releasing now. So,
Yeah.
probably not gonna get the full story in the season given it's not finished yet. But
We'll
yeah,
see.
and also there's a hot chick in it too that we haven't seen yet. So
Yeah. We have
also
a
pumped.
couple of accounts. Did we get the ED at the end of the second episode? We did, right?
We did. It was pretty good.
Pretty good. I think this is the best ED
Dude.
of the season.
Okay, I also forgot to say the OP is really insanely good.
Isn't the ED really good?
The ED
the
and the
ED
animation of the ED
is
is
amazing.
insane.
I
Mhm.
watched the ED before watching the first episode because it came across my recommended feed,
Mhm.
and I saw or blindfolded boy, and the way he danced, and I went, "That's it. He's the best character of the season of the show." And then I watched the show, and I went, "Yeah, I was right."
I think
Easy
And that's
clap.
impressive.
didn't I think Jackman, Yumi, and Dodge
We watched this.
Yes, we
we
watched
watched this
we
one
watched
together,
both of them
and
together,
during
yeah.
the ED, I said that I was the girl because that's exactly how I'd walk out of a fucking room.
You just walk out swinging your bags around.
Gucci.
My Gucci
That's
bag.
me.
Yeah, this
That's
this,
Pablo.
this
Like
shows
it's actually a
Dylan for
song
sure.
that I would just play in my car
Yep.
type deal.
this show has wolf doggos, and thus it is already a great show in my book.
Yeah, it's got good boys and girls.
Yep. I don't know if we can talk more about how great the show is without just saying the same things over again, though. So if we're ready,
Agreed.
Don't worry, we have about 8 more weeks of this.
Yeah.
So we're fine.
Yep. if you were tired of us gushing over Decadence last season, just wait for this one. It's gonna be the same thing, baby.
Oh, I forgot Decadence was on last season.
Beautiful.
Shit.
Let's move on forward. I am up Tauso Samurai, or the Gymnastic Samurai. This show, we have 2 episodes for. We meet our main character, Jotaro. He is an Olympic
Jojo?
medalist. He first got a bronze medal in his first competition and then a silver in his next. So he's been competing for a decently long time, despite how young he looks. And we see his coach sit him down, let him know, you gotta stop, man. Your shoulders are gonna give. It's gonna kill you. And he goes, this is so sudden. Why do you want me to retire? And then we see flashbacks of his coach telling him over and over and over again that he needs to retire. And he just doesn't get it. The man's too dedicated to the grind. He can't stop. We do open and see him actually doing gymnastics. And I think it's a little CG if I'm correct. I still think
it
it
was, yeah.
looks good. when he does it. So that's how we open. We have this conversation with the coach. He tells him, "You have to let your daughter know," and he gets a phone call from his daughter letting him know that they're out of milk. Uh, and he decides it's time for him to go home. He's taken this vacation with her. We find out that his wife and his daughter's mother has passed away, so it's the two of them living in this house with his, I believe it's his wife's mother. Uh, yeah, so the
Yes.
grandma.
Her
And he,
grandma, yeah.
yep, he takes his daughter to see to this like feudal Japan ninja reenactment place, and he plans to tell his daughter all about his retirement. And when they get there to watch this show, there's this ninja who's just going ham, and all of a sudden these agents pop out of nowhere and start chasing this ninja through the set area until he escapes. And then through all the mess, he doesn't get the chance to tell his daughter. Can't bring it up. They go home. She tells him how much she loved the trip. They're back home, and they have this. I forgot. We were introduced to the actual best character of the season, Big Bird, who is a big
Oh
bird
god.
who talks.
Who is
Uh,
a big bird?
Big Bird lets them know when they return home that they're being followed, to which they don't see a person and they go about their business. And this small little girl, Ray, the daughter, walks into the bathroom, sees this pipe sticking up out, like the bamboo shoot sticking out of the bath water, and she does what any reasonable child does and sticks her finger in it, causing our Ninja Boy to have to pop out of the bath. We cut to see Jotaro talking to his wife, the little like funeral thing he has set up for her, the memorial, saying how
Shrine.
he can't tell the daughter that he has to retire and he wants to be a good father. And all of a sudden, Ray yells, "Dad, there's a ninja in the bathtub!" And things ensue. We meet this ninja boy Leo, who appears to be a foreigner and is being tracked down because he's not in the country legally, I believe, is his play. And he requests to please stay in the house with them, to which the grandmother goes, "Yeah, go ahead. We'll let you." And then Jotaro still hasn't told his daughter yet, returns to the gymnastic studio, uh, does some demonstrations for the younger kids, is reminded by his coach he's got to tell his daughter the retirement's coming up soon. And the kids ask him, "When's the next time we're going to see you compete?" And we get this nice somber moment where he starts to say, "It's about time," and then Leo busts in the door and does some sick flips and all that, and rips his outfit. And moments past, can't do it now. Brings Leo home, uh, and they get ready. He has a press conference he has to do where he's going to announce his retirement. He goes, seems like he's gonna tell his daughter again at the breakfast table, but Leo interrupts, won't let him do it. And as he's about to walk out the door, to me it seems like his daughter kind of already knows as he's leaving to go to the press conference. We get there, and Jotaro goes, "I'm announcing that I am going to retire, not." And he thinks back about all the times that he spent doing gymnastics and what it means to him and his family, and he just can't do it. And we end the first episode there. Episode 2, families at the table watching every news channels talking about him, how he's the Japan samurai, how he's fallen from grace. It's probably a better idea if he would have just retired, but some people do want to see him give it that one last go down fighting. And we get introduced to we had this little news blurb about this prince, Tetsuo, I think his name is, who's this up and coming out of high school or is a high schooler gymnast, gonna take the Japanese world by storm. Does an interview where he, no competitions there. Gymnastic world's a sham. He's ready. No one can beat him. He's just ready to dominate. Jotaro goes back to his. Jotaro talks to his coach. His coach tells him, "Look, you're not going to listen to me. You don't understand. You're fired from the gym. Don't come back here." Jotaro kind of tries to train his own way, and he's just fucking shitty at making a plan. And he runs too much, he works out too much, he does visualization, which seems to be the only thing he does in the right amount. And then we see Leo kind of gets hired by the grandmother, works in this restaurant, meets this acupuncturist Brittany, who is a character type that I really hope turns out okay and they don't mishandle. And Brittany brings Leo brings Shotaro in to Brittany because Brittany's an acupuncturist. They run through the actual acupuncture. They then Brittany then tells Jotaro, "Look, you should learn what's the martial art that I'm thinking
Tai
of?
Chi.
Tai Chi,
Tai
thank you.
Chi.
They start doing Tai Chi in the park, and people start to join them. And finally, Jotaro's kind of back up to speed. His shoulders in good shape. He's ready to go. But Brittany explains, "Look, if you keep working at the maximum energy and effort that you are, you're going to kill your body. It's going to make you depressed. It's going to literally kill you. Your shoulder's going to explode." And Jotaro goes, "That sounds bad. I don't want my shoulder to explode." And he agrees he's gonna take it down a notch, and he remembers all the times his coach was telling him the same thing. And he goes and apologizes to his coach. They let him back into the gym. He's ready to go for the next, to start training for the next competition at a good level. He's talking with Leo and his other bro in the gym, and then Tetsuo walks in the door, and it's just all disrespect. And that is where we leave episode 2. This show's ED and OP I enjoy. I think they're both very good. Uh, this is a very slow start for a show, in my opinion. This show's a little slow on its start, but I very much like it. I think it has an interesting cast. I think comparatively to Sports Climbing Girls, where we have we have this rising star main character we're gonna have that sports story of the rising star. Here we have the sports story of the old dog who has to,
Redemption.
one
Yeah.
last run, redemption, exactly. And from the way the OP is, it seems like we're probably gonna have this 3-man squad of the samurai, the prince, and the ninja, or 3 boys when they eventually come to terms with each other. I just think we're gonna have to get that set up. Also, his daughter's adorable.
Oh my god, Ray is the best
She's
girl of the season,
amazing.
though. Or at least in this show, she's the best character in the show for sure.
She is wonderful, and she does do a lot of great work, I think, in this show in terms of as a character and
Mhm.
how she contributes. I like the show a lot.
I
That's
love
where
her.
I stand.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched that today actually to make sure I was caught up with my shows, and so a lot of it's fresh in my mind. So this guy went to the Olympics right out of high school in '92, where he won the bronze. '96 he won the silver, and then he's kind of struggled since. So this takes place in 2002. I
Ah,
believe there an Olympics in 2002? Wasn't there like that gap
Yes.
year that made
I
it like
think so.
offset by 2 years
I think
again,
so.
similar to like what's happening now, basically.
Yeah.
So I think 2002 would be the next Olympics. I'm not sure,
So
but
there
oh
was
no,
also a
yes.
it would be
photo.
2004. So
There was 2 photos with him with a silver medal. I don't know
yeah,
if he won 2 silver medals or it
Could
was
be
just like a
The
photos.
same
minor.
medal. I
Could
don't
just
it
be
could have
know.
two
been like
photos.
his high school, like because he was like super good out of high school or something. They were
That's
saying
true.
Yeah.
basically just like what this young edgy prodigy is. Um, and so like yeah, it's obvious that they're gonna be like a 3-man team through this like one place with Jotaro, Leonardo, and I think it's Tetsuo was
Yeah,
the name.
Tetsuo, I think.
Um, but yeah, I mean, so it's set in '02, so he's probably you figure it's been 10 years, so he's probably 28, 30-ish range.
It's in his 30s, I
And
think.
I think it's gonna be a feel good sports show, right? Where it's like this long story that kind of slowly progresses, and he struggles and he's older, and has to redeem himself. So I think it's gonna be a good show. I don't think it'll be a great show, just like my early expectations of this. But I think it'll be a good show that I'll probably watch even if it gets voted off, just because it's gonna be a feel good story by the end. And Ray is adorable, and I like her just telling the bird to shut up repeatedly.
Okay. The one thing I hate about this show is the
The bird.
fucking bird.
The
I
bird,
hate the
don't-
bird.
Yes,
I hate the bird.
I don't know why it's there.
I,
I
I
hate it.
wrote
It's a
down
South
that
American bird.
if I could gut the bird, I would.
I would flay it and eat
Can
it.
we slay the bird?
I hope
only?
I hope it gets killed. I hope somewhere in the show it dies. I hope it's an emotional moment for them and we can all just be joyous about it.
But yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with the show right now is that it's slow. It's slow. It's
Mhm.
not boring, but it's slow. I think it needs time. I think it had its introduction phase, and I think we need to, get to it now. Like, let's go. Want
Yeah.
gymnastics,
Train
right?
wheels
I
high.
think this next episode will be a good introduction of one, the new kid trying to join the club, and then Joe actually doing stuff like training and getting back in shape type deal.
Yeah.
So do you think
And
he
also it'll
injures
be
his
cool to
shoulder?
see the ninja get into do some stuff as well.
Yeah. What was that, Dodge?
Do you think Jotaro blows out his shoulder before the finale?
I
I
think
don't think
it's
so.
I
don't think
think
so.
so. I think so.
I think it's
I'm calling it out. I think it's gonna be like a big traumatic moment where like he blows out his shoulder either in the final
Or
performance or like right before.
or one of the other kids blow out their shoulder.
or something. I don't know. I
Whoever gets
think
injured.
Also, there's police involved, and like, what the fuck's up with Leo? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like why is he getting iced? Like
I think I think
why
he's
is
there
the ninja
illegally.
FBI chasing him?
I actually think Iwakakaru is a more likely show for someone to get injured in than this one. And as weird as that may
that's
sound,
actually a
I
good
feel like one of the
good
older girls is going to get injured, and we're going to see that that rising star potential moment there.
Oh, yeah, big titty mama is probably gonna get injured.
But I
Too
also
much
do
weight.
think it's possible here because this does strike me as a show that would make you feel bad about an injury of that kind in a
yeah.
serious moment. So I think it's possible. I think it's just really gonna depend on how the show takes it because I think doing that can really ruin a show depending on how it's built
100%.
itself. So I think that's gonna be something to watch for on how that goes. I mean, I enjoyed this show so far, and this is by Mappa, and they've done me good and they've done me bad. So we'll
Yeah.
see how this
Yeah,
turns out.
I just think so far it's boring a little bit, but I think
Mhm.
the introduction phase is over now, and I think we can start getting on to some good shit. But
Yeah.
Actual gymnastics
if
and
we
like
don't,
Yeah, the actual CG gymnastics are really good in my opinion.
yes,
I'm glad.
Like that was good CG. Good CG. Good job.
We
and I
have like a
like
50-50
gymnastics, so they
split
better
on
do it
good and
good.
bad CG this season.
All
I mean,
right,
that's every CG. Usually it's just
I'm
bad. Usually it's like
I'm
70-30.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty satisfied with that.
Let's
I don't
yeah.
think it's anything crazy.
If we're all good,
Let's go.
let's pass it up. This is you, Dash, right?
Oh yes, it is. I
Tony
believe we are.
Kawa.
Tony
Talk
Kawa
to
are
me.
over the moon for you.
Yeah, Dash, talk to me about Over the Moon, the upcoming
Uh-huh.
Netflix film hitting theaters on October 23rd. Right? That's what
I'll
we
talk.
watched that, right? We previewed that one.
Hmm?
Over the Moon, the Netflix show. That's what we did. The movie.
I did
Uh,
not because I don't have Netflix.
That was it, right?
I don't
Tony
know.
Kawa. Talk to me
is
about
this a
Tony
meme? Is
Kawa.
this a meme?
Yes. Talk to me about Tony
Um,
Kawa.
well, fly me to the moon. I'm gonna start off with a quote that I read on a Reddit thread, and it's one of my favorite quotes I've ever seen about to describe the show. So the quote just goes, "When Truck Kun gives you a wife instead of throwing you into another world." Um, so notes on the show: this OP fucking slaps. It does not sound like an anime OP at all. It just sounds like some shit I would just listen to on the regular, like a club song.
True.
Um, but yeah, so the show starts off where this guy, he's this hardcore student. He's just trying to prove that he is, I'm a expert student. I'm gonna be so interesting because I'm so good at studying. I don't care about anything. And then he's walking down the street and he's like, damn, that girl fine. And it's like, I gotta go say hi. And so he jumps over the barrier on like a highway and gets fucking slammed by a truck. But luckily, this girl who definitely is a human, trust me, she's definitely a normal human, not supernatural at all, takes the truck head on and blocks him. So he doesn't quite die. And she's like, "You're good, right? All right, see ya." And takes off. And he's like, "No, I gotta get this waifu in my life. This waifu or no waifu." Gets up with two broken legs, I mind you, and head trauma, bleeding out in the snow, and chases after her. Finds her at the bus stop. Is like, "Listen, I'm into you." And she's like, "Bro, you got two broken legs. Just let it go." And then he tries to get up to chase after her and like realizes, oh, adrenaline that runs out at some point. And he can't walk anymore. But then he gets up again, and he's like, "No, I have to simp. I need to simp. I must simp for this hit girl." And manages to simp successfully and agrees on one condition, that he will marry her, basically. And so at that point he's like, "Yes, absolutely." And then finally just fucking passes out in the snow. Flash forward 2 years after the hospital, he decides he graduates to top grade still, but decides I'm not feeling school anymore. Like this girl was everything to me, and nothing's happened in 2 years. And then through the raw power of simping, she shows up as his doorstep and is like, "All right, here's the paperwork. Let's do it." It comes up with the marriage documents. Girl's 16, by the way. He's 18. Just in case you're curious. So don't simp
17.
yourself. Don't simp yourself. It's dangerous. She is 18. I don't know if he's 17 or not, but
Wait,
or she's
No,
16.
she's 16.
she's
She's 16.
16.
It
He's
says it on the
18.
dot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 18
Okay.
because he just graduated
Gotcha,
college
gotcha.
or high school.
High school.
And so Tsukasa is cute as hell, but something's off with this.
Danger.
With her taking a car and the marriage plan and all this stuff. But she's adorable. I like her. I just want to say, unsolicited handholding on the first episode, that's kind of lewd, and this show is kind of sus, but at least the OP's a banger. And yeah, so the second episode, they're just kind of like, all right, what are we doing here? Let's sign the documents, turn them in. Okay, I'm staying at your place, but you don't have enough room for one. Okay, let's just go buy a bed. And they go have this cute moment where they're buying a futon, and she's like, well, what does this one do? And he's, a human encyclopedia over here. So, he's like, blah, 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 blah. And he's even more awkward than Kazuya was in Rent a Girlfriend when it comes
Okay,
to being around a girl.
I'm getting
But-
back to that, but go ahead.
But yeah, I think the main girl's adorable. I think it's got spontaneous stuff and tropes. I think it's interesting. I think it's cute. I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm a slice of life junkie, so this is right up my alley. But yeah, show kind of sus though. Holding unsolicited hand holdings kind of a bit much for anime.
Me next. So,
Okay,
bro, this
Tag
is
me in.
like if Rent a Girlfriend had a sequel or like an off-spin show called Rent a Wife. Like this show is literally fucking, hey, you wanna get married? All right, I know nothing about you. All right, let's get married. Okay. And then she's like, she's either the moon or homeless. I don't know which. We haven't figured anything out about her yet. And then she's like, "Oh, you need to pay for all my shit," and he's just giga simping over her, right? Also, she's
he's
underage.
simping
We
so
find out.
hard.
We find out over the marriage certificate that she's underage. So you gotta be careful with that shit.
It's Japan. She's
Um,
fine.
However, it's fine because
It's fine 'cause
she
she's
got
cute.
her credential or her parents or guardians' credentials to
seal.
sign her over
If she
yeah.
has any.
if she has it.
But like, okay, the show is too simple. Okay, we need a problem. I don't want the problem to be how do I
How do I get titty
Ha-
pics?
how do I act like a married couple when we're both like 18 around there, right?
I just think it's cute. Look,
Yeah,
think it's
okay.
cute.
Yes, but that's
I
not
also
gonna
agree
get
that
you
it needs-
far
it
for
needs a
me.
plot. It needs a plot.
Yeah,
Needs a
Probably-
plot.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be like, damn, this dude's getting fucking held up.
Like, let's go. Let's go.
The biggest thing is, where's the catch?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Where
Dude.
is the catch for NASA?
There's something in
which
here.
by the way, main character's name is NASA, by the
fucking
way,
hate
because
that
space.
so much.
It's because she's gonna be an alien. You already know that. Like,
She's the
I
moon
think
or
the-
homeless.
she's not of this world. Hey, and I do like that they did make a reference to, like, the show gave me a lot of the main characters give me Shirogane vibes, where like he's trying to like be super good to impress a girl basically in school and stuff, and his main goal is to, like, have people notice and respect him because people make fun of him for his name, and he's doing that through the raw power of studying and education. And then the show even goes and references Kaguya like 20 minutes later after, or like 5 minutes later after I make that note.
Mhm.
Which is like the big Princess Kaguya story is like, guy falls in love with the moon and she leaves, and he doesn't stop her from leaving, and then she never comes back. Which, by the way, shout outs to main character in Avatar for the scene of, bruh, my first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy.
But yeah, I definitely like this show. I think it's
It's cute.
it's just a slice of life that is
Yeah.
just like, like this is like fucked to begin with. It's like, holy shit, this dude just got into a car accident, and his wife is like, we're not gonna talk about it anymore, right?
Sims so hard. I respect
And then it's just
that.
like, I find it cute how they're just like, they're just going around. They're just like, they're living life, and they're just like, yeah,
Being
what
a
type of
couple.
futon do you want? They buy one, then he's like, this wasn't the most expensive one. And she's like, yeah, I like this. This one's fine. You
Which
know,
one you recommend?
like, yeah, it's like, this is the one you recommend. Like, oh, it's just like,
Oh, feel.
and then there you get the night scene where like he's just looking at her, and then she stands up, and and he like freaks
Yeah.
out. I find it super funny, and it's like super cute, and like she just steals the blanket when she wakes up. She's like, how the fuck do I have two blankets? But yeah, I like it. I think it'll be cool to see if there's like, oh my god, my family was killed or murdered, and she's just like yonder, like she's just like someone just like super crazy, you know.
The world's
It'll be
gonna
cool
end
to
in
see.
30 days or something. Like,
What if she's actually Odin?
No.
Odin from outer space come
No.
from Asgard to be your wife.
Nay. Nay, I
Nay?
say.
You say nay.
I say nay. But yeah, I
You,
think
you gotta respect the simp hustle after last season's Rent a Girlfriend. At least he got the girl.
okay, fair, fair point you make. It's a very fair point, actually. Yeah, I don't know where this show's going. I don't know what is happening. I don't know why it's happening, and I don't really care. That's my problem with the show right
Damn.
now. Give it another episode or something like that, and maybe I'll like. I mean, I'll like. I'm not a slice of life person, unfortunately. It's not the animes I watch.
You?
Unfortunately, I'm a huge brawler fan from Akudama Drive, and I think
Probably
they
be
could.
like, "Where's the
No, I'm not
blood?
done.
Where's the
I'm not.
gore?"
I'm not done. I'm not done. I think an entire show could be made off of brawler from Akudama Drive. Anyway, so slice of life is just not my forte, unfortunately. So when I watch these shows, I just want something to happen. I want a plot. I
Fair.
want some
That's fair.
intrigue. Like all he cares about is simping over her. Where's the? How the fuck did she stop a bus?
Okay.
How? Why is she always like walking
So
towards the moon? Why does she steal my
the
fucking
question
blanket in the middle of
is,
the night?
what is the level of simping? If you actually marry the person you're simping, is it considered simping?
If you know
W.
nothing about
That's a
them,
W.
yes.
The one thing I'll say too, Pablo, is she's always walking toward the moon. I think that's also a reference to the Kaguya story, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
but like that's what I mean.
think
Like
they're really
they need
hard
more
pushing that,
mystery.
but
They need to push
we
that
need
more. I
plot. We need
think
plot.
we
Like,
need plot. Yes,
Yeah.
you
Who the
said it
fuck is this
perfectly.
bitch?
This
Who is
We
she?
need more plot.
this show cannot wait until episode 5 or 6 to drop this on me. It needs to get it out sooner.
Yeah,
fair.
I think it's cute. I enjoy the bamboo cutter story and the story of Kaguya, the mixing in of that in episode 1. Episode 2, I feel is full of anime references, but I think some of them are coincidental. We get a flat out Danganronpa 2 reference and a Slam Dunk reference in it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw Slam Dunk of it.
but yeah, the DR2 one, if you're interested, when they do the two boy and girl models, it's just flat Hinata and
Yeah.
Chiaki. But I also feel like there are a couple other things that might be references, or they at least look like they are to me. So I'm interested in those things. I really do not care for this main character, and I am not super invested in anything about the show elsewise, just because we watched 2 episodes and it felt like nothing happened. And that's kind of my biggest issue is if like things can happen, but if there's no conflict with that happening, it is very hard to keep me engaged with that. I'm the same way Dylan is, except I also do like slice of life. I'm a lot more open on it. I just think that there's not enough here yet, so I'm hoping
I
there's things coming.
I think there's
That's
enough
fair.
other trash this season that we get to at least episode 5 or 6.
yes.
We will have to see on that.
I'll agree.
It's
I'll
not
I
agree.
going
think
this
this
week.
show doesn't go anywhere quite yet. But I think it
How many
has
episodes
time
of the show? Is
to.
it 12 or is it
It's
24?
12.
It's
This one's
12.
12.
I
12?
think most
Everyone
things
except for the other, the one
most
show is 12.
yeah, most things are 12. Some
Just
things are
exciting.
still unconfirmed in episode count, I believe.
Gotcha.
It's all. I think AniList is it all updated of everything is 12 or 13,
Okay.
and this one I believe. Let me see real quick. Is unconfirmed. So I'm assuming it'd be 12. Since
Yeah.
slice of life usually fit into 12 episodes. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's got time. I think it's an interesting plot, but like we need the actual total plot, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah.
start that slowed down a bit like the other show, but we need to get more from it, right?
That's true.
But I think I'm continuing to talk now on the next show
Yeah.
as well.
So
Next.
if we
The
we have
Wandering
our
Witch.
last show was
last
the
episode.
Wandering
Whew.
Witch.
Yep.
Do
All
it.
right. And I think I took this one. This is also, I believe, Nathan's show,
Yes.
Wandering Witch, and I think he picked a banger. I'll be honest. I think the show hit different though. So I was coming to the show not expecting much. The first major note that I made for the show is that the magic in this show looks fucking beautiful. Like the animation is very good when they're using magic and when things are happening. But essentially it's the story of this girl who she's like, kind of a prodigy. She hears a story of this wandering witch who, was traveling around and wrote stories about all of her travels to these different places. And she's like, that's me. That's what I want to be. And her parents are like, yeah, okay, boomer. But then she like actually like works really hard and studies really hard. And she's a prodigy. She's great. She's the youngest girl at like 16 to ever pass the or 15, I think, that passed like the apprentice mage exam, basically, which is like super cutthroat, by the way. You have to pass a written exam that she's like you can cram in one night, but then you have like the battle training where like you're on your broom and you have to like be the last one standing, and only that person becomes like an apprentice witch. And then the next step is to find a master witch, or like an actual respected witch, like a full witch, I think is what they call it as,
Yeah.
and have them train you, right? And then once they respect you, you can become a full witch, basically. And they just arbitrarily determine that. But because she's such a prodigy, every single person she's going to is like, no, you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. Like, slam the door on her, not even questioning. Like, we know who you are. Get out of here, Elena. And so Elena finally, her parents, she hears about this witch in the forest who's, just came into town, who's the Stardust Witch Fran. She's a little out there, but she's in the forest, and you know, she's like, okay, fine, I'll go check out this witch and see what's going on. She flies over and is like, she's dancing with butterflies that she created. That's kind of sketch, and starts to go away. But then it's like, no, 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 I need this opportunity. And then Fran's like, yes, I'll do it. I will train you to be an actual witch. And she's like, yes, fuck yes. And then 2 months go by and nothing happens because she is not willing to admit she's fed up with things. So she's just doing chores and kind of just going around and helping, but not learning anything magic wise. And she's fed up with it. And she finally like is about to break. And then Fran's like, all right, let's go on a walk here real quick. And they go on this walk by this waterfall. And Fran just is like, all right, I'm going to beat your ass. And Elena's like, excuse me. And then Fran proceeds to beat her ass. And then basically tells her that, so I didn't want to do this, but your parents told me that, hired me basically to basically push you to your breaking point because you're not willing to say no and you work yourself too hard. And so, Elena has this growth where she's like, wow, I really do need to be able to like, say no to things and tell people when I'm fed up with things and not just put up with everything. And so she, has this growing moment, and it fast forwards to 3 years where she finally beats Fran in like a battle, and Fran's like, all right, I'm done. I have nothing left to teach you. And she becomes a fully fledged witch in this first episode. And it's this cool moment. And then Franz like leaves and it's like, I hope I'll see you one day in your travels, traveling witch Elena, who, names herself, or is named the what was it? I swear I wrote this down. She becomes the
Ashen?
Ashen Witch because of her white hair. She reminds me a lot of Lysithea from Fire Emblem.
She does.
But so
Fuck, she does.
yeah, there was a really good first episode that has a big life lesson of learning how to say the word no to people, and had some good pacing, and it's better now than in the middle of the season for backstory. I like that a lot. And so Elena becomes a switch and becomes a little bit full of herself, and in episode 2 she's grounded a bit. She gets run into by this novice mage Saya when she first comes in, and they break some shillings, and Elena is like, no big deal, I'm an expert witch, let me fix this up real quick, I'll fix you up real quick. All right. And then she's like, all right, best of luck, I'm gonna go find a place to stay. And keeps getting turned away from all the places in this place that she finally arrives at, which is like the land of the witches, I believe is what it's called, where you have to be a witch to get in. And she comes in and they're like, oh yes, Ashen Witch, right through, no problem. But then she tries to find a place to stay and they're like, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. And she's like, what the heck? And so she finally finds this like rundown inn, and sure enough, Saya, the girl that ran into her on her way here, is like, oh, that person, please, 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 like, stay here. And then Saya tells her story of like how her sister and her went here to learn how to become actual witches, and her sister passed the exam, but Saya's still struggled to pass it and needs help. And so Elena's like, while we look for, you know or the main plot of this start is where Elena basically, she loses her brooch, which shows that she is like an official witch, and is like, oh, that's why I kept getting turned away from everywhere. And so she's like, look, while I find my brooch, I will help train you into learning how to become, a better witch and pass this exam. And so she teaches her some tricks, and she's like, wow, this girl's actually pretty good if she applies herself. She can fly pretty damn well on a broom, and does okay at magic. Struggles a little bit, but I'll teach her some tricks that I used. And so eventually, Elena goes back to the scene of the crime and sees this lady in the window across from the shillings that she crashed into, and with a wide grin. And so she is like, excuse me, miss, do you know where my brooch was? She's like, I think I remember, but my memory's a little rough. And so after bribing her, she's like, yeah, so Saya stole your brooch to basically bribe you into training her. And so Elena has this cute moment where she's like, listen, I know what's going on, but you can't cling to other people. I know you're lonely, but being a witch is lonely. As she was taught by Fran, witches can't be picky. They have to be acceptable that they're lonely and move on with that, because that's just the life they live, as a wandering witch especially. And so there's this cute moment where Elena gives Saya her backup hat that her mom gave her when she left, and it's like, here, now you'll always have a piece of me with you when I leave. And sure enough, she leaves the next day, and then she sees a newspaper story where Saya passes the exam and says, "One day I want to meet the witch who helped get me through this again." And so the story starts off for me really cute. I think it's very interesting design. I love the setting and the world, and I'm excited to see where her travels take her because I just love how like this feels like it's just going to be a bunch of short stories every episode. And I kind of like that format of like here's a little story from the Wandering Witch Elena, right? And I
Mm,
I like how it's going so far. It's cute.
okay.
All right,
I
Pablo.
really like the show, but
But
if they don't fucking add a plot, and if this is just a show of this fucking witch going town to town, oh la di di la da da, do whatever the fuck she wants, I'm gonna be really upset because I think the show has a ton of potential. I think this show could be amazing. I also think it could be a fucking waste of potential, and I hope if it is, that someone rewrites it better next season. Because I really, really like this show, but I do not want to see the same shit that we saw in this first few episodes in any of the other episodes.
Are you getting deja vu, Dylan?
Don't talk to me. I don't like you right now.
Do you know what I'm thinking of when I
I don't
watch
like
this
you right
show?
now. You could say it.
Somali in the forest spirit, baby.
Yeah.
I
I
think
will. So I walked
yeah,
into Wandering Witch, expecting it to be short story, kind of very slice of life heavy, and not very engaging. I was not very excited for this show. Episode 1, the magic looks really cool. The interactions are really good. Episode 1's enhanced greatly by episode 2 from the parallels that you can draw from Franz training to what we get with Saya. I like episode 2 a lot. This show, the longer I've thought about it, the more I think I like it. However, I'm worried that it is very easy for this thing to lose the things it is good at. It stops showing off magic. It starts slowing down a lot. Uh, I desperately want things that are interesting and engaging in each episode, and I would like eventually for some plot thread to form. As but I also think if it's handled poorly, I would rather just it not happen. So that's the tough thing. Like Smalley had an overarching plot, and I don't think it was done well at the end. Whereas with this, I'm worried that if they do put an overarching plot, it will be the same. So I'm a little hesitant on wanting that. But I also think there's ups and downs of this episodic format. So I'm hoping this one's good. I'm not too worried about it right now. It looks beautiful. I will give it that.
what about you, Jackman? What were your thoughts about
So,
Wandering Witch?
okay, I was up against the fence against this one.
Mm-hmm.
I personally did not like the first episode. I was
Really?
like, okay, I didn't like it up until the fight scene. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay,
so I
that's
get
fair.
the beginning.
Mhm.
She's trying to become a witch. That's fine. And then she's just going through complaining about one not being accepted by anyone because she's the youngest prodigy ever known. I'm like, okay, that's fucking stupid. And then immediately going into a training arc, the first episode of not doing anything, come to realize that she was just too stubborn to ask properly. And I was like, oh my god, she just needs to get a fucking beating. And then she got a beating, and I was like, okay, this is better. And then we go into the second episode, and I was like, okay, she's progressed. She's actually a witch now. This is good. She's getting there. And then she goes into an immediate training arc with another witch. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I like the magic of her rebuilding the tiles. That was pretty cool. The cool sense of the use of magic and reversal of time and being able to heal the other witch. And then it just going into like this like really sexual tension of like, yeah, I like you as a student. And then she's just like, yeah, but I want you. And then I don't know. I hope it becomes just like what Dej was saying, like it's short form story. Like each episode is like a tale of her book type deal, just in the for terms of first person type deal. But I don't know. I was on the fence about this one, but overall, I like the second episode more than I like the first episode.
Yeah,
I
I
felt
mean, yeah,
So
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I felt very similar to Jackman about the first episode. I just think for me it became stronger after the second. But yeah,
Mhm.
basically Jackman's thoughts on the first episode were very much how I felt too for it.
Yeah, I felt the first episode was like, man, this is really kind of generic. It's really kind of dull. Like, okay, oh no, they're rejected. And then it's like, you know, your parents pay me to beat your ass, basically. And I'm like, okay, now you got me a little bit, show.
Yeah, and then there's the point of who the hell's her mom? Like is her mom like actually like an insanely good witch or something like that? Like I don't know. It was that was something that I thought of in the second episode.
My wonder is like, is her mom actually the Wandering Witch?
That's what I was thinking
That's
too.
how I
That's a
felt.
good. Now that you're mentioning that, I'm like immediately thinking like, what if that was her mom? That's
Okay,
adorable.
I
first of all.
thought that
no.
too because
And
her
that makes
mom
the
seems
story
to know
so much
Fran.
better. And the mom seems super open into like, okay, you know, go explore the world. You know, go do what you want to do. Just come back. Promise me that you'll come back, right? If you see trouble, turn like it's a traditional parent, and I love that because it's like it feels real. It's like just if you see trouble, go the other way. Be a good person, and then come back home, right? Like that is the most like generic mother, but I kind of love that because it's like at least this character like it feels more real, right? Like it feels like a parent character where like yes, I have to let my bird leave the nest, but like as long as that bird comes back to me eventually, I'm okay.
I just thought of something funny.
Oh no.
She is the Ash Ketchum of Pokemon.
Okay, good.
Ash Ketchum's mom asked him to come back. He still hasn't come back.
Holy fuck, you're right, Jackman.
I think he has like called her though, right? Like that's different.
Nope. Nope,
So
wrong.
who knows?
Yeah, he also has like 86 Toros that he
Nope.
hasn't seen in like since like
Don't worry about that.
Johto. But
Don't
then
worry about
again,
that.
it's been less than a year because he's still 12, so it's fine.
Let's not worry about that. Let's.
Nope, it's a Pokemon anime
I
now.
think.
So Pablo,
I think Wandering
Pablo,
Witch is okay.
what was your thoughts?
I think it's okay
Pablo?
too.
Yeah, I thought like the show, please, has so much potential. Please,
Yeah.
please.
I saw the
do
But
potential
it.
like I
potential
feel like
too.
I feel like the short form like style is fine. Like I don't think
Yeah,
it needs
might
like a
be.
grand overarching plot because the grand overarching plot is that she is a wandering witch and this is her journey. Like I think that's
However,
okay.
if she goes 2
But I think
episodes
it's
in
more
the
of a
same town, then it's not really wandering.
So
Right?
I think this
So
would have been which is
okay,
why I'm glad she's
okay,
leaving every episode, right? And she's moved every episode
yes.
so far. And I think that this show could
Mhm.
have been really good as like say a movie, right?
So I'm comparing it because again, me and Sean think the same thing. It is a lot
Sorry.
like Somali and the Forest Spirit. No, I agree. I totally agree. The problem was that there's a difference in those shows and why I liked Somali better than this one. In that we were on a time limit with the main character of Somali. He was going to die and he had to find the parents of the child. Right? There's nothing like that. She's just traveling to travel, and I don't like that. Because why would I watch a chick just run around just to be cute? Can there be
Yeah.
something, even if it's minute?
Because there can
Like
be good
she's
characters
what if
though.
she's looking for the Wandering
So
Witch? Like what if she makes it her objective to find her?
I mean, right
I
now she's looking for Fran too, a bit, right? Like
What if she like what if she's looking for someone or looking for something? What if she finds out about a
who
art?
really is Fran, right?
Yeah,
Like
like
she's a
that's
big
what
witch in like
I
a
want
small
her to
town
have.
somewhere. Like
I want her to have an objective other than I want to see the world because I don't think that's
That's fair.
original.
I see where you're coming from.
Interesting.
I don't want to put words in Dylan's mouth, but for me, it
Oh,
is a matter of if this show doesn't have something and it is just an episodic she goes, does this, she goes, does this, it will have to go at some point because I
yeah,
could always
I think
just
that's fair.
stop watching it and binge it. It would make no difference to me.
I will say as well, I think that a format like that, Pablo, can work as long as the world is as interesting as it can
Yes,
be,
I
right? And
agree.
I think this show has the potential for a world that can be that interesting. And you know, a premise of like, you know, magic can be so open-ended, right? So I think it has
If
potential
I
like
don't
a lot of
see
other shows,
any
but
sort of magic creatures within the next couple of episodes, I think I might lose my mind.
I think the show.
wizard tools.
I'm not saying it won't, but like, there's just so much potential. Please don't waste
Yeah.
it. Please.
Like I
I
want
Lot
to
of
see
hope.
her flying on her broomstick next to a dragon onto the next
I don't know about that.
It
Because
started
city.
off really good. It started off.
Lot of hope.
It built a solid foundation, but it needs to expand on it. Like
Yes,
there's a couple
I will
shows so
agree.
far that 2 episodes and we're like, it's good, but it needs more. Right?
I have a lot of
Like
hope for it.
I definitely would say this show has been a lot more interesting than say like what was the other one? The time I got reincarnated became a slime rancher.
Yeah.
See, that's tough. I actually will. I will stand on a different level of that. I think these two shows are in similar boats for me, where I like things
I
they
think so
do,
too.
and I want to see where they go with what they do, and that will matter a lot for me.
Yep.
Are we good to go into final discussion?
I
sure.
think so
Yeah, I
too.
think we're good.
Okay,
I'm
so
done simping my shows now.
uh, while we do this, consider what it is you are voting off and why. I will say, I'm gonna say this first. I have 2 shows next week that are kind of 2 or 3 shows that are on like this thin line for me. And for me personally, those are The Day I Became a God and Tonikawa. I want something out of Tonikawa, but The Day I Became God is much. It has a lot more it has to do for me. Those 2 shows are the ones that I feel really need to show me something. Because everything else I think is fine with what it's doing, and it can muddle another episode. It can muddle another week and be fine. I think for the rest of the shows in my book. Uh, Obviously there's this odd show out that we talked very poorly about. Yeah, I don't like my Setsu, and that's where my slay's going this week. If it wasn't for the fact that I can't stand it, I might consider slaying other things. But for me,
Can you
that's
slay
my one.
multiple shows?
Which
I was
one?
You
just about
can
to
you
ask
can
that.
slay
You might cut out.
Okay.
multiple shows.
Which one? My mic cut out.
Oh, my Setsu. I'm slaying my
That's
Setsu.
opening act.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm just slaying all the fucking shows I don't like, and I'll list them now. So, by the grace of the gods, I don't want to watch it anymore. Day I Became a God, please free me from that. Dragon Quest, I'm not a child. Meisetsu, it's probably the worst show out of this whole group. Taiso Samurai, I'm just not interested. And then Over the
Get them all
Moon.
out of here.
Over
Except
the
for
Moon.
Jackman.
Over the Moon reminds me too much of Rent a Girlfriend.
What?
See,
Damn.
Dylan. See, this is why I'm only voting my Setsu this week, is because I think it's the worst show, and I know early on in the podcast Dylan is trigger happy until he has to play his cards
So,
to get the right things
I'll talk
done.
about my thoughts. I'm voting off a couple. I'm voting off 2 shows. It is not my Setsu because A, I picked it and I'm biased, and B, I want to give it at least a couple more episodes of a chance,
Really
right?
hard.
Because we'll get 2 more episodes, I think, next podcast on that one. And maybe
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
know when we're rejoining next. I want to give it a little bit more of a chance, but I've seen enough of By the Grace of the Gods to have my fill. I've seen enough of Dragon Quest to know that it's just a JRPG, and those are the 2 I'm slaying this week.
Okay.
All right. The 2 that I am slaying, I'm getting rid of Minette's the opening act. I physically cannot handle that show. My mental capacity is just like 10 minutes. That's enough. So that's my slay on that
You didn't
first
get
one.
to the one funny part.
That's the thing. It took 10 minutes to get
It took
to the
6.
funny part.
It took 6. You watched the opening and quit out.
That's way more than it needs to be. So it's a comedy. I don't have to wait 6 minutes to be in a comedy show. And then The Day I Became God. Those are my 2 slays.
The Day I
For this
Became
week.
God, really?
Yep.
Oh.
I know what Nathan voted, because though he's not here, he voted. This man's wild, and we're gonna have to have words with him next week.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
He brought off Jessica Tyson, didn't he?
No, he's not that insane.
Okay. No
Okay,
bless.
thank God.
I will run through everything, and it'll become very apparent once everyone
Oh, I didn't
submits
submit.
what it
Yep,
is.
my
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I just submitted mine.
Okay. So, by the grace of gods, 2 slays. Day Became God, 2 slays. Dragon Quest, 2 slays. Iwakaru Sports Climbing Girls has a slay.
Get him out of here. Get him
Oh,
out
get
of
him out
here.
of here.
We
Get him
have
outta
to
here.
talk
Get him
to
out.
this
Replace him.
man
Replace
next
him.
week when he gets back.
That man's getting castrated next week.
My Setsu has 3. And then Taoso Samurai has 1, and Tonikawa has 1.
Fuck
That
you,
means congratulations, Akidama Drive, Noblesse, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Wandering Witch for being the only shows to not get slayed by someone this week. Holy
Yeah,
shit,
because
guys!
Pablo slayed 8 out of 10. That's why.
Okay, let's be
He'll
real here.
keep doing
Rock
this
climbing
until
girls should not have had that slay. He's
I-
out of his mind.
Let's be real. I also should have slayed The Day I Became a God, but I was trying to be generous, and then I hear Pablo slaying literally half the fucking shows. I'm like, damn it.
I mean, if you would have slayed
it's
Day I Became a
fine.
God, we would have had to discuss between my
Let's
Setsu
be
and
honest.
that.
I know how the discussion goes, and I know my Tetsu was gone.
I don't know. You might have been able to convince me that my Setsu deserves another week, and Day I Became a God's just
I
bad.
think it
But
deserves like at least another episode.
it's
However,
really tough, man.
compared to
If-
the other ones,
if
it's
you
so
tell
tough.
me-
There's one good funny moment.
If you tell me next week that it's actually funny, like it's more than funny, I will watch it in my own time. However,
I won't be able to. I guarantee that.
I didn't see a sense of comedy in that timing frame that I did watch it. And let's put it this way. If I pay to go to a comedy show, right? I'm there to watch a comedy. That's it. And I expect nothing from start to finish but comedy. I went into that show expecting nothing more than a comedy. I got like a talent show
Mediocrity.
of a singing group that wasn't actually doing anything, and then a failed joke. I was like, okay, that's enough. So
Yeah,
Perfectly
so
understandable.
or shows to watch for next week, because they seem like they're gonna be on the chopping block. By the grace of gods, Day I Became a God, all the gods, baby. Dragon Quest,
Oh my god.
and those are the ones that we're sitting on 2 this week. Tony Kawa, I think, is also something to watch because Dylan slayed it, and if it wasn't for my Setsu, I probably would
Yeah,
have.
well,
So
Dylan has shit taste
we'll have
because
to
he's
see.
bad, so it's fine.
I'm gonna be
Where's
we'll
the
see.
fighting?
We'll see the next episode.
Dylan,
I'm
there was even
gonna.
action. They fought Truck Coon.
Dylan would say that's the most exciting part.
The best
Damn right he would.
the best part about next Sunday is that a lot of these shows are getting 2 episodes.
Best part next Sunday is we
A
don't have
good
to
chunk
watch
of them. There might be 1 or 2 that are only getting 1.
So
Uh,
I was actually gonna say, opening act actually it has 2 episodes already. It came out today, like this
Yep.
morning, but we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yep.
I'll let you know if it's even worth continuing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it after this, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I agree.
So if I am correct, Jujutsu Kaisen and Tony Kawa will have 4 episodes out. I'm
I
trying to
think
figure it
think.
out.
everything
We'll figure
should
it
have
out.
4 episodes.
I think the things that may not. I have to look at the count. I'm looking at a calendar. No, they will not. Not everything will have that out.
4.
So yeah, not everything will have 4. Noblesse will have 3 out.
But Tony Kawa will have 4.
Yes, Tony Kawa will have
Just
4.
barely.
Day Became a God will also just barely have 4 out.
I think most of them will. I'm sure we'll let you know on the podcast next week which ones do and don't.
Wonderful thing that will not have another episode is
Dragon Quest?
no Dragon Quest. Actually, let me check. That one might.
Meisetsu, Meisetsu.
Oh,
Meisetsu.
Day I Became a God will be really
Get him
close.
out of here.
It comes out day of, so we'll see.
Yeah. No, Dragon Quest will have 4 out.
Dragon Quest will have 4.
Talso will have 3 out, and I can't think of its English title off the top of my head. Oh, sorry. By the Grace of Gods will have 4 out. Day I Became a God will have 3.
Oh darn.
Yep. So we have some.
One more episode,
No.
Pablo.
Yeah,
So it's most of these shows will have 4, and that's the rule of thumb is by Sunday night, most of the time. If it has 4 out, we'll be talking about all 4. So look forward to that, everybody. Thank you for coming out. If there's any other closing thoughts we have.
Nathan's a piece of shit for voting off rock climbing.
Yeah,
Bitch.
he's.
Yeah, I can agree on that point. Pablo a little bit on it, for not having taste, but it's okay. I'll forgive him for this week. And
I also want to point out that on the stream, it just looks like I am a humongous fucking cat with a tiny head.
child. You're actually a child.
Big cat. Big cat.
I can't wait to have Nathan on next week and our opening discussion to be.
Yeah,
about
I can't
Flaming
wait till
Girls
we
and why
bash
he's
him
so
about-
good.
I will give him one little pass. He did not vote to slay my Setsu because he didn't get to watch it because he's been in the car
Okay.
the whole day. So
Good for
Okay,
him.
it's
that's
Cringe.
so
kind
we'll,
of cringe.
he didn't get to watch that
He
one.
has to watch
but
that show. He has to watch the first
we'll have to sit him down, and make him watch episode 1 at least to understand the vote. Yeah, but we had to talk. I can't wait to hear that man's thoughts on Ikakaru.
Yeah, I can wait. I can wait to hear his thoughts because they're bad.
I will say I'm excited for this season with you guys because Jackman and Dylan share the same brain cell. and Dodge and Nathan share the same brain cell.
We have brain cells more than one.
Me and Pablo combined as one.
And I will be splitting mine across the board to you all most likely.
I can only imagine how the Jackman Pablo bot lane must have gone.
Dude,
Me like
Poglo
brawler.
and Chill Lane.
Nothing
but fighting.
Action, fighting.
We're gonna see how things go next week though when we talk. Thanks everybody for coming out. Have a great night.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for being on with us. I appreciate it.
Thank
See
you.
everybody
I'm
next
glad to
week.
be here.